Warcraft, the Tree of Eternity. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476, Advancement. Illidan, who brought despair to the demons and hope to the blood elves who were fighting hard, flew directly over the battlefield without surprise. Although Illidan has now returned to the form of a night elf, he does not look as majestic and domineering as when he was a demon, but the pressure he exudes is still real. Even if he is just an epic demon king, he can make low-level demons lose their combat effectiveness, as long as he releases his aura. Now Illidan is already a mythical level. Only some demon commanders, demon marquesses, and dukes can barely stand on the battlefield. As for other demons, even the demon earls who are considered middle level among the demon nobles have been slowly bent by the sun-like power emanating from the sky, and even collapsed to the ground. Faced with these enemies who have mostly lost their combat ability, the blood elves naturally will not bother Illidan, a mythical strongman, to deal with them. All the blood elves burst into great enthusiasm in an instant, and all kinds of attacks fell on the demons who have no ability to resist. The demon commanders, marquesses, and dukes who were still able to move were shocked. Don't these blood elves have any intention of taking prisoners? There are at least 50,000 demon soldiers on the field, including many elite troops. Ordinary demon castles, even if two are added together, can't put together such an army. It seems that it is better to incorporate such troops, right? Anyway, with the mythical strongman pressing on them, no demon dares to rebel easily. But looking at the excited eyes and ruthless behavior of the blood elves, it is obvious that they want to kill them all. The demon commanders and marquesses were very puzzled, but they had to resist. It was just that they had lost most of their soldiers. With only those dozens of upper level demons, even if Illidan did not take action, they could not cause any trouble under the siege of the blood elf troops. It didn't take long for these demons who could slightly resist the pressure of the mythical strongman to be killed by the blood elf soldiers whose strength was much weaker than them. Until they died, they didn't understand why these blood elves would kill all of them, who were obviously very likely to be recruited, with green light in their eyes. If these upper level demons could notice that after they were killed, the strength of some blood elves who participated in the killing of them suddenly increased by a level, perhaps they would understand. Compared with recruiting these demons who could only fight the blood elves even with more than 3 times the number, Yuffie would rather raise the ranks of the blood elf soldiers by 1 or even 2 levels. In other words, Yuffie completely looked down on the demon army, even those demons under the devil who still looked like regular troops. Although the types of demons were strange and their abilities were also strange, they looked strong. But in the Legion battle, it was always the blood elves who could form a formation with the same type of soldiers and cooperate with each other, which was more powerful. Under the deterrence of Illidan, even if they saw that the blood elves had no intention of letting them go, the demon soldiers could not resist. In this way, according to Yuffie's plan, various blood elf soldiers lined up and began to harvest waves of experience. First, the few newly trained blood elf witches who had not been promoted to elite level in the previous battles quickly reached the elite level under the training of this readily available experience. At this point, all the blood elf witch troops under Yuffie were already elite level. Next, Yuffie did not choose to upgrade the main force of the blood elves, the magicians. It was not that he thought the blood elf magicians were not important, but the number of blood elf magicians was too large. Even if all the remaining 40,000 demon experience points on the field were given to the magician troops, it would be difficult for most of them to reach the elite level. The sword dancer troops shined in this battle and showed extraordinary lethality. Although this extraordinary was only reflected in the initial active raid, the sword dancers could not do anything when the blood elves were on the defensive, but this did not prevent Yuffie from tilting part of the experience gains to the sword dancer troops. To be honest, the sword dancers can only truly demonstrate their power when they reach the elite level. It can be said that, like the blood elf witch, the elite sword dancers are completely different from the previous soldiers. It just so happens that the remaining sword dancers are at least elite level, and even if all of them rush to the elite level, it will not consume too much experience. Of course, this is also because the ordinary sword dancers have been eliminated in the fierce battle. With the news clues provided by some enthusiastic citizens. No, it is the valuable experience provided by some enthusiastic demons. Euphony finally got more than 1,000 elite sword dancers who can be called sword masters. However, this also consumed about 5,000 demon soldiers. Euphony also had a scale in his mind for the quality of demon soldiers on the field. About 5 or so can upgrade a blood elf soldier who was originally elite to elite level. But in the meantime, we must also take into account that some blood elves have already gained a lot of experience in the battle, so the number of demons that need to be killed now is also more or less. In this case, it brings greater difficulty to the distribution. After careful calculation for a long time, Euphony still couldn't fully plan how to distribute these experience packages. Forget it, just take it step by step. Euphony was too lazy to plan, and he just sent one type of soldiers after another. Like the sword dancers, the blood knights had stronger defense, but their base number was originally small, and there were only about 1,000 of them left after the war. However, they harvested a lot of demons at the beginning of the battle, and the remaining ones also advanced to the level of lancers and shield cavalry. With a wave of his hand, Euphony asked the blood knights to go forward and harvest the lives of those demons who could not resist. Fortunately, these blood knights were blood elves and obeyed Euphony's orders. If it were human knights, 80% would give up killing these demons who had no ability to resist because it violated the way of knights. After a while, these lancers and shield cavalry also advanced to blood rage knights and shelter knights. But at this time, a new problem was placed in front of Euphony. Unlike the Night Elves, the Blood Elves did not have a soldier leader, let alone a soldier leader who could be transformed into a hero. As a result, the command problem of the troops became more prominent. Previously, because the number of Blood Rage Knights and Asylum Knights was relatively small, they could be assigned as officers. Now that all the Blood Knights have reached the elite level, it is unreasonable to use strength as the standard. After thinking for a long time, Euphony could not think of a solution to this problem. In the end, he could only let the few Blood Knights who were originally officers and gave detailed commands in battle continue to serve as commanders. Anyway, these Blood Elves who were Blood Rage Knights and Asylum Knights at the beginning were all transformed from Blood Elves in the original demon world. They have high intelligence and are competent as commanders. The promotion of the Blood Knights killed another 5,000 demon soldiers. Now there are only more than 30,000 demons left on the field. Euphony also determined his own standard for upgrading the Blood Elf troops. First, upgrade all the small number of arms to the elite level, and as many demons as possible will be left for the Blood Elf magician troops. In this way, after the Blood Elf Witch, Sword Dancer and Blood Knight, the Magic Destroyer and Blood Elf Priest were all upgraded to the elite level. When upgrading the Blood Elf Priest level, Euphony hesitated a little, because the Blood Elf Priests, as auxiliary and healing units, were better protected than magicians in battle. Most of them survived. But relatively speaking, they did not personally participate in the battle, but only blessed other Blood Elf warriors with various states, and replenished their health. Therefore, many Blood Elf priests were only ordinary level. In this way, they needed much more experience than the previous types of soldiers. Finally, I thought that the bloodthirsty magic possessed by Blood Elf priests, after reaching the elite level, could greatly enhance the strength of ordinary Blood Elf warriors. Euphony gritted his teeth and upgraded all these Blood Elf priests to elite level. However, the price he paid was that there were only more than 10,000 demon soldiers left at this time. I'm afraid that these more than 10,000 demons could not upgrade many Blood Elf magicians to elite level. Since it is impossible to upgrade the entire Blood Elf magician army to elite level, then it is better not to do so. Euphony finally chose to let those Blood Elf magicians who were still ordinary level take action. After consuming all the remaining demon soldiers, all members of the Blood Elf magician army reached elite level. Compared to other types of troops, the Blood Elf magician unit has a big gap between the elite level and the ordinary level. After all members reach the elite level, all magicians can cast defensive magic. In this way, the safety of this Blood Elf unit is now greatly guaranteed. After statistics, Euphony calculated the strength he now has. More than 1,000 sword dancers, all elite level. More than 1,000 blood knights, half of which are blood rage knights and half are asylum knights. 500 magic destroyers, all elite level. More than 2000 blood elf witches, all elite level. More than 2000 blood elf priests, all elite level. More than 8000 blood elf magicians, only 200 of them are elite level, and the rest have all reached the elite level. Compared with the army of more than 30,000 before the war, after a fierce battle, the number of warriors of the Blood Elf clan has been lost by a full half. Chapter 477, The Escaping Insect-like Demon King. However, although the number of Blood Elves is only half of that before the war, Yufei thinks that the remaining 15,000 Blood Elves are stronger than the previous 30,000 troops. Apart from other things, which army can withstand 1,000 sword masters who can kill the demon earl in seconds without warning? Yufei weighed it in his heart, and felt that, even if he took out the same number of Night Elves, it would be difficult to compete with this Blood Elf army, half of which were already elite. In addition to the experience gained, the incoming demon army also left nearly 100,000 demon corpses for the Blood Elves. What are corpses? It's flesh and blood resources. What does flesh and blood resources mean? More Blood Elf troops. If these 100,000 flesh and blood resources are transformed into real troops through the arms training buildings, then after a large-scale battle, the number of Blood Elves will increase. And this is exactly the terrifying thing about the races in Warcraft. Whether it is Slays or the Demon World, the natives' troops are always getting smaller and smaller, while the Night Elves and Blood Elves are getting more and more. This is why Yufei has the confidence to conquer the world of Slays. The Blood Elf soldiers who have advanced one after another have not been idle, and they have all been sent by Yufei to collect inferior demon slaves. As a combat unit, the Blood Elves are naturally not good at collecting flesh and blood resources. They still need those timid and weak inferior demons with good labor ability. Under Yufei's assignment, the Blood Elves took action one after another. At this time, the only ones who need to be dealt with are the 4 demon kings who are still lying on the ground and unable to move. Before, in order to cooperate with Yufei to distribute experience to the Blood Elf soldiers, Illidan had been releasing pressure and floating in the air of the battlefield. But he was also paying attention to the situation of the 4 demon kings over there. As a demon king who also ruled a part of the demon world and built a city, even if they were chopped into human sticks or even cut into 2 pieces by Illidan, it did not mean that they had no ability to resist. Just to stand out from countless demons and eventually reach a position close to the top, these 4 demon kings would not be ignorant. In front of Illidan, who has already reached the mythical level, the so-called demon king is nothing. No, not every demon king is sensible. Illidan's eyes suddenly turned cold. I didn't expect that even in such a situation, there is still a guy who is unwilling to live in peace. Illidan's face was extremely calm. After the Blood Elves received Yufei's order and scattered, he slowly flew to the place where he knocked the 4 demon kings to dust. Although the demon king's body regeneration ability is not weak, but the limbs were cut off, and it is not possible to regenerate them in a short time. Only demons like the great demon king Piccolo, who have the innate ability of limb regeneration, can use their bodies as consumables without scruples in battle. Therefore, although the Blood Elves spent a lot of time killing those immobile demon soldiers, the demon king defeated by Illidan was still crawling on the ground, and his situation did not get much better. Of course, compared to the other 3 humanoid demons that were cut into sticks, the condition of the worm-like demon king looked worse. After all, it was directly cut in half, and its entire body was cut into 2 pieces. However, the restless demon king that Illidan felt was precisely this big fleshy worm. On the surface, Illidan came to the sky above the 4 defeated demon kings without any defense, and slowly fell down. But secretly, he raised all his strength, ready to send out a thundering blow at any time, to completely kill this worm-like demon king who didn't know what to do. Compared with himself in demon form, Illidan knew that his strength in the Night Elf form was much weaker. If he was too careless, he might really suffer a small loss. Having just won a brilliant victory, Illidan didn't want to smear a stain on himself in the end. Because of the unusual movement of the worm-like demon king's body that was broken into 2 pieces, Illidan, who fell down, was the first to walk to its side. Closer, closer. Soon, Illidan was only 1 step away from the body of the worm-like demon king. Why is there no response yet? Illidan began to doubt his intuition. The life breath in the two halves of the worm-like Demon King was very weak, and his mental power was also exhausted in his perception. In this case, what ability would he have to resist? Not good. Illidan suddenly became alert. The life breath was fine, but why were there mental fluctuations in the two broken halves of the worm-like Demon King? Mental power is the external manifestation of the soul, and generally speaking it is impossible to divide it into two parts, except for the soul like Eupheny to form a clone. Yes, it is a clone. Just when Illidan was alert, the two halves of the worm-like Demon King suddenly twisted. The mental fluctuations emanating from the two halves also suddenly became violent, as if they were about to release some big moves again. Illidan quickly crossed the battle blade across his chest. Although he was not afraid of the worm-like Demon King who was only at the epic level, Illidan had only seen this situation, where both halves of the body had souls on the father god, so he had to be cautious. However, the situation that appeared in front of Illidan next made him dumbfounded. The two halves of the worm-like Demon King, which exuded violent momentum, and seemed to be ready to make a fatal attack at any time, twisted strangely and quickly drilled to large holes in the ground. Then, the two halves of the worm-like Demon King seemed to have transformed into independent life forms and quickly drilled into the hole. Nimmer, is he trying to escape? Exclamation mark. With such a big momentum, I thought he was going to make a last-ditch effort and make Illidan pay a price. Eupheny, who noticed this, was also amused by the behavior of the worm-like Demon King. However, escaping was escaping, but the two halves of the worm-like Demon King that seemed to have separated themselves attracted the interest of Eupheny and Illidan. In Illidan's opinion, after the two halves of the worm-like Demon King came to life, although their strength was weakened compared to before, they were also at an epic level. Isn't this the same as earthworms? Eupheny thought so. If you think about it carefully, the appearance of this worm-like Demon King is really a bit like an earthworm, but it is not the segmented appearance of an earthworm, but the appearance of an ordinary flesh worm. However, since it has this ability to split, why didn't the worm-like Demon King escape when Illidan was suppressing the demon army? Why did he have to wait until he had finished his business to deal with these Demon Kings before using this ability? Could it be that, although the worm-like Demon King felt that he had no strength to take revenge on Illidan, he also wanted to disgust Illidan and escape under his nose to vent his resentment of being easily defeated by Illidan? Sweat, a Demon King shouldn't be so boring, right? Eupheny was right. The worm-like Demon King naturally couldn't have escaped when Illidan came because of the boring reason he imagined. Its ability to be cut into two pieces, not only not dying, but also splitting into two individuals, naturally cannot be without limitations. First of all, this ability to split like an earthworm has a certain success rate. If you use this ability with all your strength and fail in the end, then the ending is complete death. If this ability is not used, as a Demon King of insects, it can still come back to life after a period of recovery. To be precise, the worm-like Demon King did not want to use the innate ability of this clone at first, because the success rate was really low. However, after Illidan used the mythical momentum to suppress the demon army over there, and let the Blood Elves slaughter him, the worm-like Demon King felt extremely uneasy. The enemy who became a mythical powerful person exudes the aura of the public enemy of demons, and what he did was to leave no way for demons to survive. Presumably after dealing with other demons, he will come to deal with us Demon Kings, right? Between the two choices of certain death and the possibility of survival, although the probability is not high, the worm-like Demon King still chose the latter. Although Illidan may treat the Demon King differently from the attitude towards ordinary demons, the worm-like Demon King does not want to leave his fate to others or enemies. After making the decision, the worm-like Demon King immediately began to split the soul and activate his clone ability. But Eupheny knew that splitting the soul was a troublesome and painful thing, and it also took a little time. It was because of this that the worm-like Demon King failed to escape at the best time. It was not until Illidan had walked to its side that the worm-like Demon King had just split its soul and completed its clone ability. In fact, the worm-like Demon King had thought of using this ability to sneak attack Illidan, who seemed to be defenseless, but in the battle just now, Illidan had beaten it all over. In the end, when it thought it could use its ultimate move to take revenge, Illidan rose to the mythical level and staged a big reversal. It can be said that after only a short period of fighting, Illidan formed a shadow in the heart of the worm-like Demon King. Considering the infinite probability of failure in the surprise attack and the possibility of losing the opportunity to escape, the worm-like Demon King finally chose to burrow into the ground and escape without hesitation, even without caring about the other 3 Demon Kings. And this move really left Illidan helpless. Although Illidan has become a mythical level, he is essentially just a warrior hero. Without the destructive power of magic hero, and the demon transformation was on cooldown, he really couldn't do anything about the worm-like Demon King that was escaping underground. Illidan slammed the warblade hard on the ground, and also knocked a deep and long trench in the solid land of the demon world. But the body of the worm-like Demon King that burrowed into the ground did not appear in the trench. It was obvious that it had escaped for a distance, while Illidan was shocked. After trying for a while, Illidan couldn't find the worm-like Demon King that was escaping underground, so he had to give up. Thanks to the book friend Wendy Hay for the reward of 100 coins. There will be a third update before 12 o'clock. Chapter 478 Chaotic Situation. I didn't expect that the worm-like Demon King that Illidan had been playing with for a long time at the beginning would have this ability to escape successfully in front of Illidan, who had already reached the mythical level. Euphony also felt a little surprised. As for Illidan, he was alert and quickly controlled the 3 human-shaped Demon Kings with missing arms and legs. Who knows if they also have life-saving skills similar to the worm-shaped Demon King. One has already escaped, and these 3 can't be allowed to escape again. Fortunately, the other 3 human-shaped Demon Kings do not have the ability of the worm-shaped Demon King. If they could escape, these 3 Demon Kings who are smarter than the fat worm would have run away early. The 3 human-shaped Demon Kings did not express any dissatisfaction with Illidan's rough lifting of them and throwing them one by one on the bloody mountain. Although I don't know this sentence, the meaning contained in it is universal in all worlds. Compared to the worm-like Demon Kings who have the wonderful ability to escape, since they cannot resist, they can only cooperate. The 3 Demon Kings thrown onto the Blood Mountain by Illidan fell to the ground, looking at the sun well not far away, which was still emitting a faint beam of light, with complicated eyes. They did not hesitate to gather their forces and come to attack the Blood Mountain for this thing. Although they don't know what kind of power this well has, just from the changes in the Blood Elves before and after, it seems that it is also a heaven-defying thing. It's a pity that, although they came here in the end, they were not thrown here as occupiers but as captives. However, just when the 3 Demon Kings were guessing what kind of power the Sun Well has, a grand and majestic voice suddenly appeared in their minds. The part of the area on the east side of the Abyss Land near the abandoned land has been turbulent and extremely chaotic in recent times. First, a huge beam of light suddenly appeared in the abandoned land. I don't know what secrets it contains. Then, the most powerful Demon King Piccolo and the Beetle Demon King in the nearby area quickly set out together, wanting to get the first taste of the soup. However, this time, only the Beetle Demon King escaped back. What came back with it was the news that the powerful Demon King Piccolo was defeated by the Blood Elves in the Blood Mountain and fell along with his army. The demons were in an uproar. How could the low-ranking Blood Elves have such strength? Everyone quickly thought of the purpose of the Demon King Piccolo's trip and the mysterious light column that appeared in the abandoned land before. All the demons believed that there must be something fishy, profit, in it. However, compared with the benefits that can be seen in front of them, the huge but unknown benefits of the Blood Mountain that are enough to cause the Demon King to fall are not so attractive for the time being. As for the benefits in front of them, it refers to the Demon King Piccolo's Demon City, which is second to none in the nearby area. Although there is another Demon King in the Demon City of Piccolo, he is just an epic early guy, and he doesn't even have the ability to build a city by himself. There is no such thing as inheritance and status in the demon world. Natural resources and treasures. The capable ones will occupy Piccolo Demon City. The Demon King, who was originally a vassal of Piccolo Demon King, did not have the strength to maintain the status of Piccolo Demon City and was soon driven away. The next step was the game between the nearby Demon Kings. Originally, except for Piccolo Demon King, the strength of the nearby Demon Kings who had their own cities was similar. Therefore, the competition for Piccolo Demon City fell into a stalemate. Although 4 demon kings finally reached an agreement and united to exclude the other demon kings and jointly occupied Piccolo Demon City, the other demon kings were still unwilling to entangle, causing small-scale battles to never stop. Later, the Beetle Demon King who returned from the Blood Mountain also disappeared mysteriously for some reason. It had not participated in the competition for Piccolo Demon City before, so no Demon King targeted it. But when it disappeared mysteriously, the empty city aroused the covetousness of other demon kings. The 4 united demon kings successfully captured Piccolo Castle, and after tasting the sweetness, they were ready to take over the Beetle Demon King's castle in one go. But now the other demon kings were completely fed up. The 4 of you have already taken advantage of it. What else do you want? This time, the small-scale battle was also upgraded. The other demon kings shared the same hatred and formed a loose alliance to fight against the 4 united demon kings. After fighting back and forth for a while, seeing that neither side could take advantage, but instead lost some strength, the 2 sides finally reached an agreement. I won't talk about the process of wrangling in the middle. Anyway, the final result is that the 4 united demon kings officially occupied Piccolo Castle and were recognized by the other demon kings. The demon city left by the Beetle Demon King was divided up by several other demon kings. The chaos that lasted for more than a month was finally resolved. However, the internal problems were solved, and the huge benefits that might exist on the Bloody Mountain caught the eyes of the demons again. Because the 4 united demon kings were closer to the abandoned land, they naturally excluded the other demon kings nearby, and the joint army also recruited a large number of demon nobles, cannons, ashes, to march into the Bloody Mountain together. In the eyes of the demons in the nearby area, it was easy for the 4 powerful demon kings to take down the Bloody Mountain. However, the development of the matter surprised all the demons. The huge army of the 4 demon kings, only the Beichang Demon King returned. No, it has become 2. The returning Beichang Demon King not only became 2, but also brought back a sensational news. In addition to it, the other 3 demon kings, together with the direct troops and the recruited demon nobles taken away by the 4 demon kings, all died in the Bloody Mountain. This unexpected news shocked all the demons. Some knowledgeable demons even had a premonition that the forces in the nearby area would undergo major changes again. This time, including the Piccolo Demon Castle that had just been occupied by the 4 demon kings. There were 4 demon castles left vacant. But just when everyone was guessing which demon kings would take over the empty demon castles, and whether the 2 demon kings would own 2 demon castles, the subsequent changes shocked countless demons. The 3 demon kings who died in the Blood Mountain in the mouth of the demon king of the insect actually came back together. Although none of the troops taken away were seen, the appearance and strength of the 3 demon kings would not be mistaken by the demons. What is going on? Didn't the demon king of the insect say that it was the only survivor? Just when the demons were all in a state of dizziness, the 3 demon kings united to issue a statement. The general meaning is as follows. The demon king of the insect looks chubby and honest, but he is a thoroughly cunning demon king. The 4 of them agreed to advance and retreat together and divide the interests of the Blood Mountain. But at the last moment, the demon king of the insect betrayed the 3 of them and put them in an extremely dangerous situation. The shocking secret on the Blood Mountain was eventually obtained by the demon king of the insect who framed his 3 companions. The Beichang Demon King thought that the dangerous environment would kill his 3 demons, but he didn't expect that the 3 demons worked together and finally paid a great price to escape. Only when they came out did they find that the Bloody Mountain was full of demon corpses. According to the speculation of the 3 demon kings, the Beichang Demon King must have used his 3 demons troops to fight the Blood Elves and finally reap the benefits. But in the end, the Beichang Demon King's own troops also stuck in and lost everything. Now, the 3 demon kings righteously declared that the Beichang Demon King would be the mortal enemy of the 3 demons. In addition, the 3 demon kings who came back later also called on all demons to punish the Beichang Demon King, the big scum among demons. Almost all demons ignored the last call of the 3 demon kings. Can demons be called demons if they are not scum? Although it seems that the Beichang Demon King did dig a big pit this time, killing 100,000 demons and even almost killing 3 demon kings. This is what demons often do. Anyway, the attitude of the demons is that you can watch the fun, but don't think about doing it yourself. However, the attitude of the 3 demon kings who wanted to see the battle between the 3 demon kings who returned later, and the demon king of Beichang quickly changed after the 3 demon kings pointed out one point. Many demons were very curious about the fact that after the demon king of Beichang returned from the Blood Mountain, he became 2 bodies with the strength of a demon king. The 3 demon kings pointed out that this was part of what the demon king of Beichang showed after he took all the benefits of the Blood Mountain. This was like a powder keg being detonated, and everything was in chaos. Which demon doesn't want to strengthen his own strength? Or, which demon king doesn't want to strengthen his own strength? The benefits of the Blood Mountain are so great that they can make the demon king of Beichang split into 2 bodies with little weakening. This is equivalent to doubling his strength. The nearby demon kings were all crazy. The 3 demon kings who returned later first announced the war with the demon king of Beichang. Then, the other demon kings who were far away from the abandoned land and had previously occupied the demon king of the Beetle Demon Castle also joined the war under various names. The targets of these demon kings all pointed to the demon king Beichang. The demon king Beichang had no words to complain about. Of course, it knew that the 3 demon kings who returned later were talking nonsense, but no one believed it. Between 3 demon kings and 1 demon king, most demons would believe the one with more people. In addition, no one knew the innate ability of the demon king Beichang's clone. After it successfully split and returned from the Blood Mountain, it aroused the curiosity of many demons. Now that the 3 demon kings had thrown dirty water on it, it was even more difficult to explain. It could only watch helplessly as many demon kings found it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479 New Plan. The Demon King Beichang was very innocent, extremely innocent. It was as clear as a mirror in its heart. The 3 demon kings who returned, after it might have reached an agreement with the Blood Elves of the Blood Mountain or the existence behind the Blood Elves. It was even possible that the 3 demon kings had surrendered to the existence behind the Blood Elves. To be honest, the demon king Beichang somewhat understood the choices of the 3 demon kings. The demon king Beichang felt very fortunate that he could successfully use the innate ability that he thought he would never use and successfully escaped from the Blood Elves. If the demon king Beichang knew that Illidan would not kill the captured demon king, he would definitely not make the risky choice of using his innate ability. After all, he was a mythical supreme being, and there was only one in the entire demon world. There was nothing shameful about submitting to such a strong man. Just surrender to the Blood Mountain. Why did you frame me? Looking at the 6 or 7 demon kings who came to bully him, the demon king Beichang was extremely sad and angry. Although the demon king Beichang could be used as two after the successful use of the clone ability, he was definitely not the opponent of the 6 or 7 demon kings. Not everyone has the ability to fight 4 enemies at once like Illidan and finally advance to the mythical level to complete the reversal. As a last resort, the Demon King Bashan had to give up one of his clones to attract firepower, and reluctantly abandoned his own demon castle and fled. It knew that no one would listen to its explanation under the pressure of public opinion, and it could not survive in this area. The Demon King Bashan finally escaped with his life again. The so-called secret of Blood Mountain seemed to have disappeared because of its escape. However, the possible interests on Blood Mountain were taken away by the Demon King bashing, but there were other interests in front of the Demon Kings. The 3 Demon Kings who had just returned from Blood Mountain had greatly reduced their strength because of the loss of a large number of troops. Not to mention the Demon Castle that had been swallowed up by the Demon King bashing. Even the Demon Castle of Piccolo, which the 4 of them had occupied together before, might not be able to be preserved. The other Demon Kings who did not participate in the expedition of Blood Mountain, and whose strength was greatly preserved, were ready to move. Soon, they occupied the Demon Castle of the Bashan Demon King with a thunderous force, and coveted the Piccolo Demon Castle. But unexpectedly, the 3 Demon Kings who returned from the Blood Mountain faced such pressure, and announced that from now on, the 3 Demon Kings would unite into one force and truly advance and retreat together. This joint advance and retreat is not as simple as the 4 Demon Kings alliance that was temporarily formed to divide the Piccolo Demon Castle. When the 3 Demon Kings fought with other Demon Kings to occupy the Bashan Demon Castle, they integrated the remaining military forces in their respective demon castles and mixed them together to form a joint force. When other Demon Kings tentatively attacked the Piccolo Demon Castle, this joint force showed strong strength. In fact, the more critical thing is that the 3 Demon Kings took turns to fight, which brought great pressure to the attackers. Compared with the 3 Demon Kings who united inexplicably, the relationship between the other Demon Kings was not very harmonious. Otherwise, the Piccolo Demon Castle would not have been captured by the 4 Demon Kings alliance before. This led to the fact that the individual Demon Kings were unable to defeat the 3 Demon Kings who had been greatly weakened but united, and they could not reach an agreement to unite. The other Demon Kings also divided up the Beetle Demon King's Demon City and the Bassam Demon City, and actually got great satisfaction in terms of interests. After a period of fruitless struggle, the Demon Kings other than the 3 Demon Kings gave up, provoking the 3 Demon Kings who had already become one, and began to digest the 2 divided demon cities. In this way, after more than 2 months of chaos, this area in the east of the Wuoan land finally returned to peace. In the extremely chaotic situation before, no demon noticed that a fire demon quietly passed through the territories of several Demon Kings and headed towards the south of the Wuoan land. This fire demon was undoubtedly Illidan, and his goal of this trip was the most powerful force in the entire demon world alone, the Lava Kingdom. The 3 Demon Kings who returned from the Blood Mountain were naturally subdued by Yuffie. Although it is impossible to hypnotize these 3 demons who have reached the epic level as thoroughly as in the world of Slays, it is still possible to plant a spiritual seed as a time bomb. This way, the symptoms of split personality will not appear. Under the power of Illidan, the mythical supreme power and the threat to their lives, the 3 Demon Kings chose to serve the Blood Elves very happily. After knowing the existence of Yuffie, the Sun well, the 3 of them knew that this was not something that ordinary Demon Kings or even Demon Emperors could control. According to Yuffie's instructions, the 3 Demon Kings did not stay in the Blood Mountain as the high-end combat power of the Blood Elves, but returned to their respective demon castles. The so-called declarations of the so-called Baichan Demon King taking the benefits for himself and framing his companions were all made by the 3 Demon Kings according to Yuffie's instructions. The Baichan Demon King is the only demon who knows the truth about the Blood Mountain. Yuffie does not want the Blood Elves who have gone through a tragic battle to be exposed to the entire demon world. If the demons of the entire demon world know about it, the Blood Elves can actually destroy the power of the 4 Demon Kings, and they will definitely become the target of public criticism. The Blood Elves are not as powerful as the Lava Kingdom. Although fighting to support fighting can quickly improve their strength, it also takes time. The Fire Demon Emperor is a demon, and even though he once attempted to unify the demon world, he was not wiped out in the end. But if the demons know that the Blood Elves actually have mythical strongmen, and they hate demons, they will definitely attack them in groups. It is for this reason that Yuffie chose to subdue the 3 Demon Kings instead of turning them into Blood Elf soldiers. You know, 3 epic Demon Kings are enough to make hundreds of elite Blood Elf magicians reach the elite level. In the current situation, the 3 controlled Demon Kings can play a greater role than hundreds of elite Blood Elf magicians. In addition to being a barrier for the Blood Mountain and covering for the Blood Elves as local Demon Kings, the 3 of them must be able to access more things. Yuffie also hopes to gradually abduct more Demon Kings through these 3 Demon Kings, so as to slowly find the Heart of Darkness. If it doesn't work, you can also incorporate the recruited Demon Kings into the Blood Elves and directly conquer the demon world to find the Heart of Darkness. What Illidan is doing now is to go to the Lava Kingdom to find out the news of the Heart of Darkness. The 3 Demon Kings can be regarded as the overlords of the Land of the Abyss, but Yuffie did not get any news about the Heart of Darkness from their minds. Since the Heart of Darkness may not exist in the Land of the Abyss, there are only the Ice Purgatory and the Lava Kingdom. I just went to the Ice Purgatory once before and provoked the undead there. At that time, Illidan destroyed a branch base of the undead and ran away. It is unknown whether the undead knew who the enemy was. Even though Illidan has now risen to the mythical level, Yuffie still doesn't want him to go to the Ice Purgatory first. It just so happens that Illidan's most skilled demon transformation is the fire demon, so Euphemi asked him to go to the lava kingdom to explore. After all, the lava kingdom also has a mythical demon like the fire demon emperor, and it must have more secrets. Maybe, with the convenience of the fire demon's body, he can really find the heart of darkness in the lava kingdom. Compared with the ice purgatory, the lava kingdom is farther away from the Forsaken Land. Although Illidan has reached the mythic level now, it is not convenient for him to move in his original body, because the curse of the demon enemy has not been eliminated. Therefore, he walked for more than 10 days at the relatively slow speed of the legendary fire demon, before he finally reached the lava kingdom. Just like when he went from the Abyss Land to the Ice Purgatory, Illidan went south all the way, but did not feel the change in temperature. It was not until he crossed a strange river with half lava and half flowing water that he felt the heat of the lava kingdom. Looking around, the scenery of the lava kingdom is completely different from other places in the demon realm. But in terms of brightness, because there are lava caves and magma rivers everywhere, the lava kingdom is glowing with a permanent fiery red light. Chapter 480, The Flame Demon Emperor is about to awaken. Although the area of the lava kingdom is much smaller than that of the Abyss Land, there are fewer demons living in it. Therefore, after entering the lava kingdom for half a day, Illidan did not find any demons. Illidan stopped moving forward temporarily and frowned. This is not good. He came to the lava kingdom with the important task of finding the heart of darkness. If he didn't meet any demons, how could he get information? And this is a bit wrong, right? Even though the lava kingdom is relatively vast and sparsely populated, it is not possible to advance at high speed for half a day without encountering a demon, right? Although he has become a legendary fire demon, and even his abilities are the same, Illidan's soul is still that of mythical demon hunter. Therefore, he is sure that he has not missed any hidden demons in his perception. After being puzzled, Illidan had to continue to move deeper into the lava kingdom. Finally, after moving forward for another half a day, Illidan made a discovery. In a lava river not far ahead, Illidan sensed the existence of many life forms. Illidan raised his eyebrows made of lava and sped up to the lava river. As far as his eyes could see, Illidan saw a large number of flame elves lining up to move deeper into the lava kingdom from the lava river. Although the name of the flame elves contains the word elf, it actually has nothing to do with the elves. It is an elemental life form born in flames or magma, which is somewhat similar to the fire demon. However, in general, the strength of the flame elves is innate, and it is difficult to improve through acquired efforts. When they were born from flames or magma, they were at a certain level, and they remained at this level for a long time. Therefore, the status of the flame elves is relatively low compared to the orthodox of the lava kingdom, the fire demon. Generally speaking, the flame elves exist as vassals of the fire demon. Illidan was slightly excited when he discovered the large number of flame elves advancing in the lava river. The flame elves are also an intelligent race. Perhaps they can know what happened to the lava kingdom through them, and why it has become uninhabited for thousands of miles. After quietly following the fire elves along the lava river, Illidan had no intention of showing up for the time being. He was an outsider, and he didn't know the specific situation in the lava kingdom. If he rashly went out to communicate with these fire elves, he might be exposed. But after following these fire elves for a long time, Illidan was extremely depressed to find that these fire elves didn't like to talk. His plan to get some information through the fire elves talking to each other was aborted immediately. Just when Illidan had been following the fire elves for a long time, and was about to get impatient to come out and contact these fire elves, a new discovery cheered him up, and gave up the idea of showing up. The lava river in the lava kingdom is not like an ordinary river, with tributaries and main streams, and finally merged into the sea. The so-called lava river is a river-like crack formed by the cracks in the ground that expose the magma underneath. After following a lava river for a long time, this group of fire elves finally reached the end of this lava river. At the end, Illidan sensed the breath of a cloud-level demon from afar. The cloud-level demon seemed to be waiting for the fire elf team. Illidan felt that he should soon understand the reason for the change in the lava kingdom. Sure enough, after landing on the same scorching ground, the fire elf team quickly joined the cloud-level demon waiting at the end of the lava river. Illidan finally heard a voice one day, after entering the lava kingdom. "Respected Lord Demon Emperor Envoy, all the fire elves of the Leicester tribe are here. Please lead us to the place where the ceremony is held." Illidan was shocked. Demon Emperor Envoy. This Demon Emperor should refer to the Flame Demon Emperor who almost conquered the Abyss Land, right? Isn't it said that after that battle, the Flame Demon Emperor was seriously injured under the siege of hundreds of Demon Kings and fell into a deep sleep? So, what is the origin of this Demon Emperor Envoy who appeared now? No one came to answer Illidan's question, so he could only continue to follow the Fire Elf tribe led by the Demon Emperor's messenger. As he continued to move forward with the Fire Elf tribe, Illidan got closer and closer to the depths of the Lava Kingdom. Gradually, he felt that in a distant place, a dormant power that was as hot as the sun, but strange was slowly waking up. In an instant, Illidan understood. I'm afraid that the sleeping Fire Emperor is finally waking up. Even though they are still far away, Illidan can still make a judgment. This Fire Emperor, who has existed in the demon world for thousands of years, is more powerful than his original body. Of course, this is Illidan's original body as a Night Elf. If he uses the demon transformation skill and merges with the demon realm, Illidan is not afraid of this old strong man in the demon world. What's more, it seems that the Fire Emperor has not completely woken up from his slumber yet. The ritual that the Fire Elves had talked about with the so-called Demon Emperor's messenger before. Illidan made up his mind to take a deeper look at the ritual that might be held to awaken the Fire Demon Emperor. He didn't have to wait long. Under the leadership of the Demon Emperor's messenger, the Fire Elf tribe that Illidan followed soon arrived at a magma lake. In the center of this magma lake, there was a small island made of condensed black rocks. Illidan was a little disappointed. Although a large number of fire elves, lava monsters and even some fire demons had gathered in this magma lake, and the scene was not small, this was obviously not the place where the Fire Demon Emperor would awaken. At least, the place where Illidan sensed the power of the Fire Demon Emperor was still a long way from here. After hesitating for a long time between leaving here and going in the direction of the existence of the Fire Demon Emperor that he sensed, and staying here to observe the so-called ritual, Illidan finally chose the latter. After all, the body he was using now was just a legendary fire demon. In this magma lake where the highest level was no more than the sky level demon, Illidan could still hold on without exposing his body, but it was not certain if he could go deeper. Illidan knew that, although there were not as many demons in the Lava Kingdom as in the Abyss Land, there were still many demons in the Lava Kingdom. Anyway, it seemed that the gathering of the Lava Kingdom residents must be related to the awakening of the Fire Demon Emperor, so he would just observe from here. Illidan quietly hid in the dark and waited for a day without feeling anxious. He saw teams of fire elves, lava monsters, or other kinds of demons being brought to the lava lake by Emperor's messengers. Gradually, even this large lava lake was covered by a large number of demons or elemental creatures. Among them, only those with strength above the gold level could climb onto the black rock island in the center of the lava lake. Illidan's eyebrows jumped. Finally, a legendary guy appeared. The same as Illidan's current appearance, this is also a legendary fire demon. Just like in the eyes of the Chinese, foreigners are all the same. In Illidan's eyes, this fire demon is almost exactly the same as his current body. With the appearance of such a legendary fire demon, there will definitely be a second and third one. I think the reason why the entire Lava Kingdom is uninhabited is due to this kind of gathering. In this case, doesn't it mean that most of the demons gathered together don't know each other? After all, this is guided by the Emperor of the Demon Emperor. Only those powerful fire demons who travel alone will come by themselves. In this case, I can also disguise myself as a fire demon who comes to participate in the ceremony and mix into the team. Once this idea came out, it was unstoppable. Compared with observing from a distance, it is obvious that entering the lava lake and climbing onto the Black Rock Island to participate in the ceremony in person can discover more secrets. After weighing the risks and benefits, Illidan resolutely walked out of his hiding and headed for the lava lake. Chapter 481 Ceremony starts. Standing in the middle of several legendary flame creatures, Illidan breathed a sigh of relief. Although his sudden appearance as a legendary fire demon was very eye-catching, as Illidan guessed, this gathering was a large number of demons and fire creatures gathered from a large area around, and few of them knew each other. Because of this, even though Illidan's disguised legendary fire demon was rare and of high status, no demon noticed anything wrong. And to Illidan's surprise, no demons or fire creatures came to talk to him, and everyone looked solemn. But this was exactly what Illidan wanted. He had no idea about the situation in the lava kingdom. If someone really came to talk to him, it would probably be exposed in a short while. It would be best to hide among several legendary fire creatures and quietly wait for this mysterious ceremony to start. Although he had observed it with his mental power, when he was hiding in the distance, Illidan could only see clearly what existed on the Black Rock Island in the center of the Magma Lake. After he landed on it, the demons or fire creatures who could land on the Black Rock Island were all powerful and of high status. Compared to the creatures floating on the Magma Lake below, they can be called the elites of the Lava Kingdom. And among these elites, there are also differences in strength. The place where Illidan is now is still the periphery of the Lava Kingdom. Therefore, the strongest person who appears here is legendary level. And the few legendary powerhouses, including Illidan, are in the center of the Black Rock Island. In front of Illidan and other demons, there is a pyramid-like building. However, unlike the pyramid, this building is not only black like the island, but also the top of the tower is not pointed, but a platform. On this platform, there is a small thing like a signal transmission tower. Just when Illidan was guessing what this strange building was used for, the demons and fire creatures that were still entering the Magma Lake one after another had disappeared. It seems that all the intelligent creatures in a large area around have gathered in this not so large Magma Lake. It should be added here that Illidan had not seen any intelligent creatures such as demons or fire elves for a long time, since he had gone deep into the Lava Kingdom because of the inexplicable gathering. But it was not to say that he had not encountered even monsters. It was just that those monsters without intelligence obviously could not communicate, so Illidan chose to ignore them. Not only Illidan, but in fact, the demons and the entire demon world did not regard monsters as a species that could communicate. In this regard, the status of monsters was not even as good as that of the monsters in Slays. The monsters in Slays continent would gradually acquire high intelligence after their levels increased, and many high-level monsters would even make some transactions with other races. Therefore, in Slays, monsters were actually regarded as a race. It is even said that the dragon race was originally classified as a monster. When there was no more demon emperor messenger leading the team into the Magma Lake, the so-called ceremony that Illidan had been looking forward to for a long time finally began. Those demon emperor messengers of different levels all came to the Black Rock Island and stood at a level deeper than several legendary strongmen. Illidan was a little surprised. Isn't this ranking based on strength? But then, Illidan knew why those different looking demon emperor messengers, although their strength had not reached the legendary level, stood in the innermost circle. In the silence, only the occasional explosion of the lava in the Magma Lake would make a little sound. And in this solemn environment, Illidan was staring at the demon emperor messengers self-mutilating one by one. Without any sign, the demon emperor messengers standing closest to the strange building directly sank their weapons or claws into their chests. With the sound of blood gushing out, the blood of these demon emperor messengers was sprayed on the strange building with a signal transmission tower on the upper part and half a black pyramid on the lower part. Even the blood that flowed on the ground later strangely climbed onto the strange building. And once the blood reached the strange building, it quickly disappeared. The strange building, which was originally black like the island, began to gradually emit a red light as it was nourished by blood. This red light had a hint of blood, but it was not completely blood red. From it, Illidan felt more of the hot breath like the surrounding Magma Lake. It was as if, with just some blood sprayed on it, the originally black stone building turned into lava. With the loss of a large amount of blood, the messengers of the Demon Emperor fell to the ground one by one. Soon, the blood in their bodies was drained. At the last moment, it was not even they who were bleeding, but the blood in their bodies was being pulled out. If the blood was drained, even with the vitality of the demons, they could not survive. In other words, these demons called the messengers of the Demon Emperor died in front of everyone. And the result they brought was a strange building in the center of the island, which has now turned into a deep and dazzling red. What to do next? Illidan was a little confused. Originally, he thought that this so-called ceremony would be led by the messengers of the Demon Emperor, and he only needed to follow them. But now the messengers of the Demon Emperor led, but the example they set was suicide. Could it be that this ritual was a collective suicide, to sacrifice blood to the Fire Emperor to help it wake up? Illidan felt a chill on his body, but he quickly rejected this idea. Most of the creatures floating on the Magna Lake were creatures like fire elves and lava monsters without blood. The ritual should not be a blood sacrifice. Illidan focused his attention on the legendary masters near him. Next, let's see what they will do, and follow their example. Illidan was not disappointed. After the messengers of the Demon Emperor died of bleeding, the legendary masters present took action. What relieved Illidan was that they did not make any self-harming moves. One by one, the legendary fire elves, lava monsters, or fire spirits began to transmit a large amount of energy to the strange building emitting red light. It turned out to be so simple. Although the power transmitted by those legendary creatures was pure fire energy, since Illidan had become the appearance of a fire demon, he could naturally possess the power of the fire demon. Almost at the same time as the other legendary creatures, Illidan also began to extract the power in this body and transfer it to the strange building. After these legendary strongmen set an example, the rest of the demons and flame creatures also began to transfer energy from the inside to the outside, one after another, through the air to the strange building in the center of the island. Seeing the large amount of pure flame energy gathered under the transformation of the strange building, condensing from the top of the signal transmission tower on the top into a thin line of fire, flying towards the south, Illidan understood a little. It turns out that this strange building is an energy collection device. Collecting energy is collecting energy. Why is it so mysterious? And those so-called Demon Emperor messengers are also committing suicide. Demons are indeed demons. As the large number of demons and flame creatures present continuously transferred the pure flame energy in their bodies to the energy collector, this strange building gradually changed from just glowing red to looking like solid lava. And at the top of the signal transmission tower, a large amount of flame energy condensed into a thin line of fire, also flying towards the south. On the surface, Illidan was trying his best to transfer energy to the energy collector like other demons, but in fact, he was thinking about other problems. This energy should be supplied to the sleeping Fire Lord who was about to wake up, so that he could fully recover, right? All the existences in the demon world are considered enemies, so should we destroy them? Thanks to the book friend 140,301,171,238,007 for the reward of 100 points. Chapter 480 to the Flame Demon Emperor is resurrected. Illidan began to think carefully. The Fire Lord was a veteran of the demon world and possessed unparalleled prestige and strength in the demon world. Although he had offended almost all the demon kings in the Abyssland, because he wanted to unify the demon world, this move, which could only be called wild ambition rather than delusion, did not affect the image of the Fire Lord. Apart from other things, although the Lava Kingdom was severely damaged in that war, there were still a large number of demons and fire creatures supporting the Fire Lord. Compared with a leader who didn't like to cause trouble, the Fire Lord was more likely to get more support in the demon world. Because the former kind of leader is often regarded as a coward in the demon world. Just think about it, no matter who it is, they would prefer to declare we almost conquered the world with the king, rather than our king led us to suffer oppression but still survived, right? And the appearance of such a mythical demon who can be called a hero is hard to say, whether it is good or bad for the Blood Elves. In Illidan's opinion, the most anxious people after the Fire Lord's resurrection should be the large number of demon kings in the Abyssland. In the past, the Fire Lord was besieged by hundreds of demon kings in the Abyssland, and was injured, and fell into a deep sleep. It is possible that, after waking up this time, he will go to trouble the demon kings of the Abyssland. While pretending to transmit the flame energy with one hand, Illidan withdrew the other hand, and touched his chin, weighing the pros and cons in his mind. If the Fire Lord led a large number of creatures in the Lava Kingdom to fight against the Demon Kings of the Abyssland again, it would definitely be extremely beneficial to the Blood Elves. Because these demons are all enemies of the Blood Elves. However, Illidan also knew that this was only the best case scenario with the smallest probability of happening. With the lesson learned last time, the Fire Lord should not be so bold as to unify the demon world by relying on himself as a mythical demon. Even if there are some fights with the many demon cities in the Abyssland, they should be minor fights. Well, there is no point in that. Only when the demon world is in chaos, the blood elves will have a chance to develop. Only in chaos, it is more likely to dig out information about the heart of darkness. Illidan retracted his other pretending hand and smashed his fists together, making a decision. Soaring into the air, Illidan left the Magna Lake directly. The demons around him were originally very surprised that this legendary fire demon withdrew his hands and stopped transmitting energy. Now seeing that Illidan actually left and stopped the ceremony, they were even more shocked and angry. However, they did not dare to just throw away their hands like Illidan did. They could only continue to mobilize all their strength to transmit fire energy to the strange building and watch Illidan fly away. The direction Illidan flew to was the south, where the fire line condensed by the energy collector on the island in the center of the Magna Lake flew. And the south was exactly where Illidan felt a huge and hot breath before, that is, the place where the fire demon emperor was sleeping. After flying south for a while, Illidan stopped. Of course, he couldn't fly south directly to the place where the Fire Lord was to fight with him and disturb his awakening. There must be many epic masters stationed in the place where the Fire Lord was sleeping, especially at this special moment. The awakening of the Fire Lord was an irreversible fact. Illidan didn't want to go there by himself and be besieged by a mythical demon and more epic demons. That could lead to his death. All Illidan could do now was some small actions, like this. From the Magna Lake before, the flame energy transmitted by a large number of demons and flame creatures gathered by the energy collector eventually condensed into lines of fire containing huge amounts of energy and flew to the place where the Fire Lord was sleeping. Although these lines of fire flew at an extremely fast speed, they were still traceable. Floating in the air, Illidan looked at the lines of fire that were approaching from far away, and a strange smile appeared on his face. He flashed and came directly to the trajectory of the observed lines of fire. When the huge amount of flame energy condensed into a line of fire, the fire demon that Illidan transformed into suddenly opened his mouth and swallowed the line of fire directly. Blasphemy. This is a great blasphemy. If the residents of other lava kingdoms saw this scene, they would definitely draw their knives and chop it. This line of fire condensed with a huge amount of flame energy is used to resurrect the great fire demon emperor. This damned fire demon actually ate it himself. However, in addition to being angry, they must also feel extremely shocked. Because this product of highly condensed flame energy has extremely strong power and penetration. If ordinary legendary creatures dare to block this rapidly advancing line of fire, they will definitely be injured if not killed. However, the legendary fire demon that Illidan transformed into can directly swallow and digest such a line of fire. It stands to reason that the demon that Illidan transformed can only use the power of this body. Therefore, the fire demon he transformed into is indeed only a legendary level of strength. When Illidan was lurking in the Abyssland disguised as a demon duke, he did not dare to use any abilities other than the power of his body. But after Illidan advanced to the mythic level, this situation changed. The biggest difference between the mythic level and the epic level is not the amount of power, but the way of using power. Although Illidan is limited by his ability, he can only use the legendary level of the power of the fire demon, but the change in the way of using it makes the real power that can burst out have already surpassed the legendary level. The reason why Illidan's fire demon body can devour the fire line that the general legendary level cannot bear is because he cheated and used the mythical power control ability with his legendary body. Illidan even had an idea using the energy stolen from the Fire Demon Emperor to upgrade his Fire Demon body to an epic level. With this beautiful idea, Illidan intercepted all the fire lines transmitted from the Magna Lake to the south. Although this powerful energy could not be digested in a short time, it was also stored in his Fire Demon body by Illidan. However, this kind of stealing could not affect the revival of the Fire Lord too much. This time, all the intelligent creatures in the entire Lava Kingdom were mobilized to deliver energy to the sleeping Fire Lord through sacrifice. The lava lake that Illidan discovered was just one of the many places where energy was delivered. Even if he intercepted all the energy output there, he could not reduce most of the energy used by the Fire Lord to revive. Just as Illidan continued to enthusiastically devour the fire lines that were still flying to the south, a huge and hot breath suddenly erupted in the extreme south of the Lava Kingdom. The Fire Lord has revived. Illidan understood it in his heart. However, in the huge and hot breath, Illidan felt a little weak. probably because the energy obtained during the revival was not enough. This proved that Illidan's little trick was still useful. Compared with the scene when the Fire Lord woke up, Illidan's condition at the mythical level was weak. The entire lava kingdom was boiling at the moment when the Fire Lord woke up. The boiling here does not refer to the demons and fire creatures. They are constantly delivering pure fire energy, and now they are almost all exhausted. What is boiling is the entire lava kingdom, rather than the residents living in it. Countless lava caves that were originally just calm and steaming suddenly erupted countless magma, forming indescribable lava fountains. A large number of ground cracks formed new lava rivers. For a moment, the already extremely bright lava kingdom became even more fiery under the eruption of a large amount of magma. Although the mythical momentum of the Flame Demon Emperor only covered a small area after his revival, the changes in the lava kingdom brought about by his revival are incomparably huge. And the scene of the lava kingdom suddenly brightening up like a new star explosion naturally gave the demons of the Abyssland a notice the Flame Demon Emperor has officially revived. Chapter 483 Mission: Kill the Flame Demon Emperor. Illidan quietly fell from the air to the ground, where the magma was already boiling. The Fire Lord had already awakened, and the ritual naturally stopped. In the magma lake in the distance, most of the demons and flame creatures had already consumed their energy, and even if the ritual had not yet ended, they no longer had the power to continue to provide flame energy. Now Illidan's Fire Lord body has stored a large amount of flame energy. All he has to do next is to digest this huge amount of energy, and then he will be able to naturally upgrade to the epic level. Compared to ordinary demons who need to accumulate energy by absorbing demon hearts and advance with difficulty, creatures such as the Fire Lords and Fire Elves in the Lava Kingdom are much happier. In the Lava Kingdom, magma flows everywhere, and a large amount of flame energy is readily available. These elemental creatures only need to absorb a large amount of flame energy from the outside world for purification, to enhance their strength and advance. It is precisely because of this that the Lava Kingdom has become a rare united force among demons, because the creatures in the Lava Kingdom only need to absorb flame energy from the outside world, and there is no resource dispute such as fighting for demon hearts. Although the distance was far, Illidan could still feel the might of the Fire Lord. Both were at the mythic level, but the old timer was much stronger than Illidan, who had just advanced. After hesitating for a while, Illidan finally chose to hide here for the time being instead of going directly to the Fire Lord. Illidan had thought about relying on his current identity as a Fire Lord to gain the trust of the Fire Lord, to get information, and even to do more things. But after all, he had only transformed into a Fire Lord, and had not obtained the memory of the Fire Lord he had transformed into. If he showed his true colors in front of the Fire Lord, it would definitely be a very troublesome thing. Besides, the Fire Lord's body would be able to reach the epic level after a period of time to digest the energy. An epic level Fire Lord must be heavier than a legendary level Fire Lord. If you want to sneak into the core part of the Lava Kingdom, it is better to make your external strength stronger. In this way, Illidan sneaked into a lava cave that had just erupted, and quietly began to digest the pure flame energy that was originally offered to the Fire Lord. Although Illidan settled down, the entire demon world became somewhat turbulent because of the resurrection of the Fire Lord. When the Fire Lord revived, the entire Lava Kingdom changed, and these changes also notified the entire demon world of the Fire Lord's resurrection. The reappearance of such an old mythical strongman immediately attracted the attention of almost all demon kings. Even ordinary demons have a long lifespan. In fact, due to the relatively chaotic social structure of the demon world and the large number of fights between demons, few demons died of old age. However, at the stage of the Demon King, fewer died in battle. Therefore, a large number of demon kings who participated in the battle in which the Fire Lord attempted to unify the demon world have survived to this day. These demon kings naturally still remember the powerful and arrogant Flame Demon Emperor, and they will never forget the threat that the demon kings of the Wuhan land suffered at that time. In the center of the Wuhan land, in a demon castle that is much larger than the Piccolo Demon Castle, several demon kings are discussing something with worry. The demon sitting at the top of the hall is obviously the leader, but it did not speak, but quietly watched the other demon kings talk. I didn't expect the Flame Demon Emperor to wake up so quickly. According to its injuries at that time, it should have accumulated energy for thousands of years. A bloated and ugly demon king, said with some doubts. The thin demon king sitting opposite it responded to its question with a solemn and regretful look. Some time ago, I heard that there seemed to be some changes in the Lava Kingdom. It seems that some demons are connecting the tribes in the Lava Kingdom. But because the Lava Kingdom is too exclusive, I was unable to find out the details. I didn't expect that those tribes were gathered together to provide energy for the revival of the Flame Demon Emperor. I should have thought of it earlier. Alas, the skinny demon king now regretted it very much. He should have paid more attention to those news at that time. Following the words of the skinny demon king, the other demon kings also spoke. However, what they said were all some words of surprise at the revival of the Flame Demon Emperor, and they did not get to the point. The demon king sitting at the top listened quietly for a while at first, but soon became impatient. "Everyone, be quiet," a low but majestic voice sounded, and immediately stopped the demon kings who were discussing endlessly, and looked at their leader. "What we need to do now is not to wonder why Ragnaros was able to wake up 1,000 years in advance, nor to regret why we did not organize the actions of the Lava Kingdom. Now that Ragnaros has awakened, is a fait accompli. What we need to do now is to discuss how to face this Lord of the Fire Demons." Unlike other demon kings, the demon king sitting at the top did not use the title of the Fire Demon Emperor, but called him Ragnaros or the Lord of the Fire Demons. The demon kings below were not surprised. Ragnaros is the real name of the Fire Demon Emperor, but ordinary demons and even ordinary demon kings dare not call him the Fire Demon Emperor in this way. Only their leaders, who are only one step away from the mythical level, have the confidence to call him that. This powerful demon king who has several demon kings as his subordinates is the great demon king Dire, who is known as the first demon king of the Abyss Land. When the Fire Demon Emperor conquered the Abyss Land, it was he who took the lead in uniting all the demon cities together, and finally put the Fire Demon Emperor into a deep sleep. Since then, Demon King Dire has been trying to enter the mythical level, but unfortunately, more than 1,000 years have passed, and he still has not succeeded. After hearing the words of Demon King Dire, the demon kings below looked at each other for a while, and finally the thin demon king spoke first. "Lord Dire, actually, we don't need to worry too much." A trace of relief appeared on the face of the thin demon king. Although it is not clear in advance that the fire demons and fire creatures of the Lava Kingdom gathered together to awaken the Fire Demon Emperor, everyone present should be very clear about the consequences of this behavior. The Fire Demon Emperor has awakened now, but he relied on the energy provided by a large number of subordinates to awaken instead of absorbing and converting energy on his own. For the time being, he may not have the strength to sweep across the land of the abyss as it did 1,000 years ago. In addition, in order to awaken the Fire Demon Emperor, the creatures of the Lava Kingdom have drained their own energy for sacrifice. The consequence they have to bear is that the strength of many fire demons and fire creatures will be greatly reduced. In other words, the overall strength of the Lava Kingdom is probably now reduced a lot. In this way, we don't have to worry for the time being that the Lava Kingdom will repeat the situation that threatened the entire demon world 1,000 years ago. The words of the Thin Demon King made the other Demon Kings, including the Great Demon King Dire at the top, nod slightly in agreement. However, the bloated Demon King opposite it had a new question. DUIRUI, what you said seems to make sense. But the Flame Demon Emperor would not know that doing so would temporarily make its own strength incomplete and consume the power of the Lava Kingdom. In this case, why would it do this? As soon as the words came out, the bloated Demon King found that the other Demon Kings looked at him with contempt. It couldn't help but panic, and hurriedly waved its hands and asked, "Hey, what are you looking at?" The Thin Demon King, whom it called DUIUI, sighed and woke it up. "Polo, have you forgotten what time it is now?" The Demon King frowned, and after a moment, he suddenly realized. Holy war. In the ice purgatory corresponding to the Lava Kingdom, Zhao Kang, who was sitting on the frozen throne, suddenly opened his eyes. There is a new task again. After talking to himself, he opened the system panel. What he saw was a new task marked in red. Mission objective: kill the Flame Demon Emperor. The Flame Demon Emperor will be a major obstacle to the Undead's attack on the demon realm, and this obstacle needs to be completely eliminated. Mission difficulty: SS level. Mission reward: increase the upper limit of the copy hero's level by 2 levels. Note, due to the difficulty of the mission, the upper limit of the copy hero's level will be temporarily increased by 1 level after accepting the mission. If the mission fails, the increase will be invalid. Flame Demon Emperor. Zhao Kang was shocked. Having survived in the demon realm for more than 2 years, he naturally knew the existence of this mythical powerful being. But what he didn't expect was that the system actually gave him the task of killing this mythical existence. Just looking at the 2 S's on the mission difficulty, Zhao Kang felt his mouth twitching constantly. Initiating a small undead disaster in another world is only A-level difficulty, from which you can see how difficult this mission is. But the reward of the mission made Zhao Kang salivate. The only epic level subordinates he has now are the original copies of 4 heroes. If the upper limit of the copy hero's level can also be increased by 2 levels, it will be from level 6 to level 8. This is a change from legendary to epic. More importantly, as long as you accept the task, the upper limit of the copied hero's level can be raised by 1 level. Although the note of advance payment of part of the reward further illustrates the difficulty of the task, the temptation of greatly improving one's own strength is hard for Zhao Kang to refuse. After gritting his teeth, Zhao Kang finally did not refuse this extremely difficult task and clicked accept. Chapter 484 Undercurrent. Just as the great Demon King Dire and several of his Demon Kings had inferred, the Flame Demon Emperor did not do anything high profile after waking up, but instead, after waking up 1,000 years in advance, the Flame Demon Emperor's strength did not return to its peak state for a while. More importantly, in order to provide it with enough energy, the overall strength of the Lava Kingdom has declined a lot. Of course, the inexplicable lack of energy in the process of collecting energy is also one of the reasons why the Flame Demon Emperor quietly hid. The Demon Kings whose territories are close to the Lava Kingdom, who were originally panicked after observing the changes in the Lava Kingdom, gradually relaxed after being on guard for a period of time. The Holy War is imminent, and the Flame Demon Emperor will not risk the world's disapproval to start a civil war in the demon world again. Besides, the Wuhan land is not easy to bully. The Flame Demon Emperor was able to be put into a deep sleep by everyone's unity last time, and this time it can be done if necessary. However, it must be said that demons are indeed a race that cannot live in peace. After the Flame Demon Emperor woke up, he kept a low profile. However, some demons in the Abyss Land had some problems because of his attitude. In a huge demon castle in the south of the Abyss Land, a secret meeting was also going on, just like in the Dire Demon Castle. But the difference was that there were dozens of demon kings participating in this meeting. If a demon with a wide range of social contacts saw the demon king in the hall, he would be shocked. All the demon kings who had demon castles in the south of the Abyss Land came here. Because of the same status, the seating arrangement of this meeting was not as orderly as in the Dire Demon Castle, but dozens of demon kings were discussing around a large round table. However, there was still a host for the meeting, and that was the owner of the Demon King's place, the Great Demon King Murphy. If anyone disagreed with the fact that the Great Demon King Dire was the #1 Demon King, then it must be the Great Demon King Murphy. In terms of strength, the Great Demon King Murphy has also reached the end of the epic level. However, compared to the Great Demon King Dire, who has lived for thousands of years and has accumulated a great reputation over a long period of time, the Great Demon King Murphy seems too young. How young is he? Let's put it this way, the Great Demon King Murphy has no fear or admiration for the Flame Demon Emperor because he was born after the Flame Demon Emperor fell into a deep sleep. Perhaps it is precisely because he has never seen the power of the Flame Demon Emperor with his own eyes that the Murphy Demon City held this meeting. However, although he has never seen the Flame Demon Emperor with his own eyes, as a member of the demon world, it is impossible for him not to have heard of the Flame Demon Emperor's deeds. Now, only the Great Demon King Murphy stood around the round table and talked freely. Everyone. From the tragic war 1,000 years ago, we can clearly understand the ambition of the Flame Demon Emperor. Among the demon kings present, I'm afraid that many of them have experienced that war. The Great Demon King Murphy looked around. Many demon kings on the seat showed expressions of deep approval and nodded slightly. The demon kings who personally participated in that war will never forget the huge body and incomparable might of the Flame Demon Emperor. Although there is only one level difference between the mythical level and the epic level, there is a world of difference between them. Seeing that most of the attention of the Demon Kings present was focused on him, the great Demon King Murphy was a little excited, but he quickly suppressed it. He did not want to show emotions that would be considered immature by other Demon Kings. In order to become the first Demon King of the Abyss Land, the great Demon King Murphy took great pains to convene this meeting. The Flame Demon Emperor claimed that he would dominate the entire demon world. Even the southern part of the Abyss Land, where we live now, has been occupied by the Flame Demon Emperor. From this we can draw a conclusion. The Flame Demon Emperor is a thorough ambition, and it is impossible for him to coexist peacefully with us Demon Kings. Now that he has awakened, it is very likely to launch a war to conquer our Abyss Land again. The great Demon King Murphy looked impassioned, and his tone was slow and heavy. Although the Demon Kings present seemed to be listening carefully on the surface, they were all complaining in their hearts. Isn't this nonsense? If it weren't for this concern, who would come to attend your meeting? Can you say something useful? However, no Demon King could refute the face of the great Demon King Murphy. After all, his strength is there, and none of the Demon Kings present have the confidence that they can beat the great Demon King Murphy in the future. Besides, he is the initiator of the meeting, so he should have some right to talk nonsense. The great Demon King Murphy didn't realize that he was talking nonsense at all, and he continued to chatter. For such an ambitious person, I, Murphy, firmly despise it. Demons are a free race, and no one can rule the entire demon world, even if it is the mythical Flame Demon Emperor. TSK. The other Demon Kings made disdainful voices in their hearts again. This kind of words are just for show. If there is a chance to unify the demon world and become the master of all demons, who among the present wouldn't want to do it? Therefore, I invite everyone to participate in this meeting. I, Murphy, am a sensible man, and I like to speak plainly. The reason why the Flame Demon Emperor was put into a sleeping state was because of the unity of the Demon Kings in the Abyssless Land. Now, the threat of the Flame Demon Emperor is once again before us. Of course, we cannot sit still and wait for death. We must fight. The method of resistance is self-evident. Unite. The territories of the Demon Kings present here are all in the south of the Abyssless Land, including me. If the Flame Demon Emperor is still, no, he will definitely be ambitious. In this case, the first to suffer will be our territory. Therefore, we need to unite and fight against the Flame Demon Emperor together. At this moment, one of the Demon Kings who were quietly listening to the impassioned speech of the great Demon King Murphy suddenly spoke. It took hundreds of Demon Kings to unite and finally defeat the Flame Demon Emperor. Although this was partly because the Lava Kingdom also had many Demon Kings, it also showed how powerful the Flame Demon Emperor was. How could we, with only our nearly 30 demon castles, fight against the Flame Demon Emperor? Instantly, all the Demon Kings looked at the great Demon King Murphy instead of the one who asked the question. Because the Demon King who asked the question was one of their representatives, and the question he asked was what most of the Demon Kings wanted to ask. The great Demon King Murphy seemed to have expected this question and laughed. Demon King Undead doesn't know this. The great Demon King Murphy showed a mysterious smile, which completely aroused the curiosity of the Demon Kings present. Too lazy to continue to whet the appetite of other Demon Kings, the great Demon King Murphy simply explained directly. Don't you all doubt that the Flame Demon Emperor awakened 1,000 years earlier. I have ventured into the Lava Kingdom to observe in the past few days and have gained a lot. The great Demon King Murphy said proudly. He couldn't help but feel proud of this. Ordinary Demon Kings don't have the courage to travel to the Lava Kingdom because the fire demons and fire creatures are extremely xenophobic, and there are many legendary epic beings. After the awakening of the Fire Demon Emperor some time ago, no Demon King dared to go deep into the Lava Kingdom. Who knows if he will be crushed to death by the Fire Demon Emperor after entering the Lava Kingdom. Only the top epic beings like Dire Demon King and Murphy Demon King have the courage and strength to enter the Lava Kingdom to investigate the situation. Although this kind of strong man who is only one step away from the mythical level is still difficult to fight against the strongest mythical person, it is still no problem for him to escape. Okay, I won't keep you in suspense. In the Lava Kingdom, I found that, although many volcanoes and lava caves erupted after the Flame Demon Emperor woke up, making the flame energy much richer, the strength of the residents of the Lava Kingdom has declined one after another. Next, the great demon king Murphy informed the other demon kings of the situation, that the flame demons he had seen in the lava kingdom had become rare, and various tribes of flame creatures had also lurked down, looking seriously injured. Those who can become demon kings are naturally very smart demons. After hearing the description of the great demon king Murphy, they naturally understood why the flame demon emperor was able to wake up 1,000 years in advance. At this point, their minds became active. However, no demon king took the lead, and everyone was still eagerly watching the great demon king Murphy speak. Demon Lord Murphy also enjoyed the pleasure of being the one who made the decisions. He continued to say in front of everyone, "I have deduced that the flame demon emperor must be in a state of great loss of strength. If we want to contain, or even eliminate this ambitious man, we must seize this moment." In the end, Demon Lord Murphy finally revealed his purpose. "I hope that the demon kings whose territories are in the southern part of the Wuhan land will form an alliance, just like 1,000 years ago." The demon kings below looked at each other, and soon began to discuss in a low voice. Demon Lord Murphy looked a little nervous, and his eyes wandered around looking at each demon king. When the nearly 30 demon kings finally made a decision, Demon Lord Murphy showed a satisfied smile. Nearly 30 demon cities in the southern part of the Wuhan land united together after this meeting, temporarily led by the most powerful Demon Lord Murphy, and the goal of this alliance is to prevent, or even eliminate the Flame Demon Emperor. This news could not be concealed, and soon almost the entire demon world knew about this alliance initiated by Demon Lord Murphy. For a time, the land of Wuhan was undercurrent. Everyone wanted to see what the final result of this alliance, which was nominally formed to fight against the Flame Demon Emperor, would be. Not to disappoint everyone, the great Demon King Murphy quickly announced the first order of the alliance. All the demon castles of the Naniuan alliance assembled the army and sent troops to the Lava Kingdom soon. Thanks to the book friend Wendy Hay for the reward of 100 points. Chapter 485, Underground Movement. The Naniuan Alliance, which is composed of many demon cities in the southern part of Wuhan land, is about to gather its military forces to attack the Lava Kingdom. It has become the hottest topic in the demon world for a while, and countless demon kings are paying attention to the progress of the matter through various channels. Of course, there are also some sensitive or ill-intentioned demons who secretly released the declaration that Murphy will compete with Dire for the position of the first Demon King after the great Demon King Murphy initiated the establishment of the Naniuan Alliance. In fact, in the final analysis, the title of the so-called first Demon King is actually not good. But among the demons, who have basically no entertainment methods and advocate killing and fighting, only this false reputation can attract the interest of more demons. This rumor has a large market. However, Dire, the main task in the rumor, held a meeting with his men as soon as the Flame Demon Emperor woke up, but he didn't care about the rumor at all and didn't say anything. This disappointed many demons who wanted to watch the excitement. Of course, few demons know that Dire is actually extremely concerned about the actions of the Naniuan Alliance. For the demons who experienced that war, the existence of the Flame Demon Emperor was a shadow. Now that the new powerful Demon King Murphy has taken the lead, it is naturally something that the Demon King Dire is happy to see. In this way, it can be said that under the attention of the public, nearly 30 demon cities in the Naniuan Alliance have assembled a very large army and marched towards the Lava Kingdom of Magma and Fire. There are more than 30 demon kings in this huge army. After all, not every demon city has only one demon king. Especially for people like the Demon King Murphy, there is more than one demon king under his command. In fact, only places close to the edge of the Abyss land such as the Abandoned Land will have vacant demon cities, resulting in one demon king occupying two demon cities sometimes. The truly powerful demon kings disdain to occupy multiple demon cities. Their power is often concentrated together. The dispatch of more than 30 demon kings and a large number of troops will naturally cause many cities in the Naniuan Alliance to fall into a state of power emptiness. However, the leader of the Naniuan Alliance, the great Demon King Murphy, had already issued a declaration that anyone who dared to attack the Naniuan Alliance at this time would be an enemy of the entire Naniuan Alliance. Once this statement was released, the Demon Kings of the Naniuan Alliance naturally felt at ease. The troops gathered by nearly 30 demon cities reached about 300,000, and this was without recruiting the demon nobles. Although Illidan was lurking in the Lava Kingdom, Yufei would not ignore the situation in the Wuuan land, and naturally heard about this action. The big move of the Naniuan alliance made Yufei a little stunned. Even though the strength of the Blood Elves has been greatly enhanced, facing this 300,000 strong army with more than 30 demon kings sitting in front of them, they can only force it. The result is that it will be wiped out. However, now that the target of this huge army is the Lava Kingdom, Yufei will naturally not worry, but will not be concerned about it. No, that can't be said. Illidan is now lurking in the Lava Kingdom as a fire demon, which is also related to this war. Yufei's mind moved. Maybe I can take this opportunity to let Illidan sneak into the core level of the Lava Kingdom. With this thought, Yufei notified Illidan, who was still digesting the flame energy and the underground magma, and asked him to act according to the situation. Let's not talk about Yufei's little tricks. The protagonist now is the Naniuan alliance. 300,000 troops are not a joke. Even if 30 demons are lined up in a row, and one demon occupies a length of 1 meter, the marching team will be a full 10 kilometers. Although most demons are not very large, they are much larger than humans. Not to mention that some very large demons occupy a larger marching area. In this way, the marching route of the Naniuan alliance's troops is very long. Fortunately, these demon troops are the direct troops of the demon kings in the various demon cities of the Naniuan alliance, and there are no conscripted demon noble troops. Otherwise, I don't know what kind of chaos it will be. Being in the southern part of the Wuuan land, it is impossible that the various demon cities that joined the Naniuan alliance had no conflicts with each other before. But the great demon king Murphy had already stated in advance that, since they had united together, they should put aside their past grudges, unite as one, and not fight among themselves. In addition, the demon kings at the top were all savvy, and they flew above their own city troops one by one, restraining their subordinates from fighting with friendly forces. For a while, the 300,000 demon troops showed a harmonious scene. However, this harmonious and peaceful scene no longer existed after the troops entered the territory of the Lava Kingdom. Although the demon kings had tried their best to select demons with the ability to resist fire, or who used fire energy themselves, it was still difficult for ordinary demon soldiers to adapt to the extreme environment of the Lava Kingdom. Especially during the period after the awakening of the Flame Demon Emperor, the geological activities in the Lava Kingdom seemed extremely frequent, resulting in many lava rivers or lava caves with lava slowly bubbling on the ground, which made the march of the Naniuan alliance's large troops extremely difficult. As a last resort, the demon kings could only cheer up, pay attention to the environment in the distance, and be ready to rescue some of their subordinates who were in danger at any time. In fact, if it is not necessary, the demon kings of the Naniuan alliance do not want to bring so many troops. Looking at the current situation, it is clear that the demons who are used to living in the Wuuan land will be extremely uncomfortable after entering the Lava Kingdom. This will affect their combat effectiveness. However, if these more than 30 demon kings form a team alone to go deep into the Lava Kingdom to trouble the Flame Demon Emperor, they will not have the confidence. The Flame Demon Emperor attacked the Wuuan land at that time, relying not only on his own mythical strength. To put it bluntly, what can a mythical level do? The strength of a demon is limited after all. In that war, the strength that erupted from the Lava Kingdom was eye-catching. Those flame demons and flame creatures seem to be of low level, but the explosive fire attribute energy cultivated from the lava-filled country can cause huge lethality. It is precisely because they know that the strength of the Lava Kingdom lies more in its residents, rather than the mythical Flame Demon Emperor, that the Demon Kings of the Naniuan Alliance agreed to form an alliance, and send troops to the Lava Kingdom after the great Demon King Murphy discovered that the power of the Flame Demon and Flame creatures in the Lava Kingdom had been weakened. Who can't guess that the Flame Demon Emperor himself is weak? Waking up 1,000 years in advance will definitely have this negative state. It is the overall strength of the Lava Kingdom that has been weakened, which gives the Naniuan Alliance the confidence to invade the Lava Kingdom and find trouble with the Flame Demon Emperor. Therefore, it is necessary to lead a large number of troops to march. Soldiers against soldiers, kings against kings. The battles in the demon world are generally like this. Because most of the demon soldiers are not very strong, the Naniuan Alliance troops are not advancing fast. According to Illidan, who came out to inquire about the situation after the flame demon's body advanced to the epic level, this huge army did not reach the magma lake after 10 days of walking. However, apart from the fact that the demon soldiers were a little irritable due to the long march, the troops of the Naniuan alliance did not lose much personnel due to the harsh environment under the care of more than 30 demon kings. It was just that 10 days had passed without encountering even one enemy, which made every demon soldier and even the demon king a little confused. Until this day. Although there was no distinction between day and night in the demon world, the demons would still take necessary rests. Even though the bodies of demons were relatively strong, the march in extreme environments for 10 days also made a large number of demon soldiers feel tired. Therefore, after discussing this day, the demon kings finally issued an order to rest on the spot. The place where the Naniuan alliance troops chose to rest was a rare large area without lava rivers or lava caves after they entered the demon world. Although the ground was still extremely hot, it was much better than other places they had walked through. After receiving the order to rest, most of the demon soldiers instantly lay on the ground and fell asleep. Anyway, for such a long time, there was no shadow of a fire demon or a flame creature. It was best to rest in this rare place with a better environment. However, in Illidan's perception, these demons who were resting peacefully had already fallen into an extremely dangerous situation. Some mysterious figures were swimming under the ground, where the Naniuan alliance troops were resting. Of course, there was no groundwater in the lava kingdom, and these figures were swimming in the magma. Illidan quickly identified the identities of these figures. They were the first fire elves he saw after entering the lava kingdom. Compared with the fire demons, the fire elves are not actually a kind of demons at all, but a completely flame creature. Therefore, wandering in the magma is almost an instinct of the fire elves. Even the more powerful fire elves can integrate themselves into the magma or other flame environments, making it difficult for people to discover them. The fire elves that appeared in Illidan's perception now are all fire elves above the sky level that can integrate into the magma. If Illidan was not actually a mythical strongman and had been lingering in the underground magma for a long time, he would probably not be able to discover these fire elves like those unaware demon kings. These powerful and numerous fire elves appeared underground, of course, not for sightseeing. To be honest, for them, magma is like air. There is nothing to observe. The powerful and numerous fire elves quietly swam under the ground where the Naniuan alliance troops rested, agitating their energy and controlling the magma underground. Illidan instantly understood that these fire elves wanted to give the demon army a magma bath. Thanks to the book friends Yangu and Dadu, Wild Kid, and Mayuji for their precious monthly tickets. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486, Wandering in the Lava and Climbing the Volcano. That's right, it's a lava bath. The demons of the South Abyss Alliance were not surprised that there was such a large and solid site in the Lava Kingdom, but Illidan was surprised. The environment of the Lava Kingdom was originally very harsh, with lava rivers flowing everywhere. After the awakening of the Fire Demon Emperor, volcanoes and caves erupted everywhere, and the number of lava rivers and lava lakes increased greatly. How could such a flat ground with at least dozens of square kilometers without lava rivers and even lava caves everywhere exist naturally? After seeing the appearance of those fire elves, Illidan was even more certain that this piece of ground must have been made by the native residents of the Lava Kingdom in order to trap the South Abyss Alliance troops. To put it bluntly, this rare flat ground was just a trap. In fact, the demon kings of the South Abyss Alliance were not without doubts and vigilance in their hearts, but the flame elves themselves blending into the underground magma was really not something that ordinary demon kings could find, and this flat ground without magma was really rare, so they had to let the troops rest here. However, when the fire elves stirred up the magma wave underground and surged along the cracks and tunnels that had been opened long ago, the demon kings with keen senses finally noticed something not good. The great demon king Murphy was the strongest and was the first to wake up. In his feeling, the energy around him suddenly became extremely violent, and a burning energy was stirring under his feet, just like a volcanic eruption. That's right, it was a volcanic eruption. Looking at the spectacular scene in the distance, Illidan could only describe it this way. The demon soldiers who were originally lying or sitting on the ground to rest, when the demon kings noticed something was wrong and gave warnings, they all stood up alertly and looked around for possible enemies. But they never thought that the danger came from the solid ground under their feet. When most of the demon soldiers found that the ground began to tremble, it was too late. This large piece of flat ground without magma was originally formed by the fire elves and some other creatures in the lava kingdom splicing many large pieces of solidified lava together. Therefore, the narrow but deep cracks that reach the ground at the joints are everywhere. After the fire elves underground used their innate abilities to stir up the magma, these cracks quickly collapsed under the impact of the magma. The consequence of this collapse is that a large amount of magma rushed out of the ground, sprayed high because of the pressure, and then sprinkled around. At first, facing this sudden magma eruption, the reaction of the demon soldiers was relatively calm. In the previous march, they had also encountered the sudden eruption of lava caves they passed by. 10 days was enough to cultivate experience in dealing with such situations. But just when the demon soldiers were about to evacuate quickly to a place where there was no magma eruption, they found that this time it was not so simple. As far as the eye could see, there were magma fountains everywhere on the ground, where the Naniuan Alliance troops were resting. Speaking of which, such a scene was still quite spectacular. If it was safe, the demon soldiers would also be happy to see these magma fountains as a landscape. But if the lava from these lava fountains were to pour on themselves, or spray directly from their crotch, no demon would feel wonderful. Floating in the air, more than 30 demon kings and other demons with flying ability at the cloud level and above looked extremely ugly. After this round of sudden lava eruption, the demon troops of the Naniuan Alliance may suffer a lot of losses. However, although their faces looked ugly, the actions of these middle and upper demons were not slow. Except for those demons with wings, the demons around the cloud level could only stay in the air for a short time. Under the command of the demon kings, they flew away from the place that had turned into lava and waited in front. The other demons with flying ability, under the organization and leadership of the demon kings, began to rescue the demon soldiers struggling in the lava. To be honest, although most of the demon soldiers were not a fire attribute, they still had the strength to temporarily resist the lava invasion. However, if they were to be immersed in magma for a long time, most of the demon soldiers below the cloud level would have no choice but to die. After all, the energy that could be erupted for body protection was limited. Fortunately, the upper demons above the cloud level rescued them in time. With the demon kings also trying their best, most of the demon soldiers survived. But the loss of that small part was enough to make the Naniuan Alliance heartbroken. When they set out, the Naniuan Alliance had more than 300,000 demon troops, and even after marching in the lava country for 10 days, there were not many casualties. But in the large-scale magma eruption just now, more than 50,000 demon soldiers were lost. These demon soldiers were all directly above the magma eruption, or because of their weak strength, they could not hold on until the upper demons rescued them, and died under the erosion of the magma. Looking at the tragic scene of the demons of the Naniuan Alliance, Illidan laughed in the distance. In fact, compared to the Lava Kingdom, which is far away, if the Blood Elves are exposed, they will definitely face the conquest of the Demon Kings of the Abyssland first. It's just that no one pays attention to the minor changes in the abandoned land now, especially after Yufei found 3 Demon Kings to cover. Therefore, the loss of the Demon King forces in the Abyssland is something that Yufei is happy to see. Even just now, Illidan actually helped the Fire Elves, using his identity as a fire demon, to quietly incite the eruption of magma, making it more intense. And such behavior also has some unexpected surprises. After the death of some demons, they also provided Illidan with a lot of experience, but the experience that these numerous but weak demon soldiers can provide cannot cause any changes to Illidan, who has reached level 9. The Demon Kings are not fools. The doubts about the rare flat ground in the Lava Kingdom just now have turned into anger at this moment. It's just that the Flame Elves are too slippery. After inciting the underground magma wave, they quietly moved along the underground magma river. Even though the Demon Kings kept scanning the surrounding areas, they could not find anything. After searching fruitlessly, the Demon Kings could only accept the loss this time. However, this caused some disagreements about the next action. To be honest, the Demon Kings in the South Abyss Alliance would obey the orders of the Great Demon Lord Murphy, only because of the situation. The so-called leader of the Alliance is actually the first bird pushed out by these Demon Kings. The Demon Kings in the southern part of the Wuhan land were already afraid of the Flame Demon Emperor, and they hit it off at the suggestion of the Great Demon Lord Murphy to establish the South Abyss Alliance. But in fact, not many veteran Demon Kings would be convinced by the Great Demon Lord Murphy, who was promoted to a Demon King less than 1,000 years old. In the eyes of those veteran Demon Kings who had fought against the Flame Demon Emperor, the Great Demon Lord Murphy was just a newborn calf who was not afraid of tigers. And this is what they want to take advantage of. If the tiger, the Flame Demon Emperor, was really overthrown under the leadership of the calf, the Great Demon King Murphy, then everything would be fine. If the Flame Demon Emperor was not weak, or could lead the Lava Kingdom to defeat the Niuean Alliance, even if he was weak, then the Great Demon King Murphy would be the final scapegoat. The Great Demon King Murphy himself actually knew this, but he didn't care. First, he was indeed like the other Demon Kings. Although he valued, but was not very afraid of the Flame Demon Emperor who he had never faced directly. Second, what he wanted was the momentum of commanding dozens of Demon Kings to build momentum for his title of the first Demon King. However, this kind of harmonious scene that was willing to be mutually beneficial had some signs of disappearing after the Niuean Alliance troops suffered this first major setback. Some Demon Kings clamored to go back, saying that the Flame Demon Emperor and the Lava Kingdom were not so easy to invade and defeat. This sudden eruption of magma alone resulted in the loss of 1/6 of the demon soldiers. Most of the Demon Kings who held this view were those who had suffered heavy losses in the magma eruption just now. Most of the other Demon Kings were neutral and were watching. Only the Great Demon King Murphy and his subordinates, as well as several Demon Kings who supported him, insisted on moving forward, looking for the existence of the Flame Demon Emperor, and giving him a fatal blow. Finally, after arguing for a while, the Demon Kings who still wanted to give up this action compromised. After all, they had come here, and it would be a bit embarrassing to go back like this. Moreover, the Great Demon King Murphy also promised a lot of benefits to appease them, so they went with the flow, and continued to move forward. In the subsequent march, the Niuean Alliance troops were more careful, and the Demon Kings were divided into two groups to alternately scan the surrounding areas where the troops passed to prevent the previous situation from happening again. But even so, they still couldn't find Illidan following behind them, and some fire elves who were stalking. After another 10 days of hard march, the unchanging scenery finally changed. In the distance, there was no longer an endless wilderness with a lot of magma flowing, but towering mountains. The Demon Kings were excited. They were going to the volcanic area. According to the long-standing records, the place where the Fire Demon Emperor first appeared and lived was the volcanic area of the Lava Kingdom. Next, as long as they crossed the volcanoes, they should be able to find the target of this trip. Along the way, they were not able to fight the army of the Lava Kingdom head-on, but were instead exhausted by various magma eruptions, which made everyone from the Demon King to the ordinary soldiers feel extremely frustrated. Now that we have waded through the magma, and are about to cross the volcanoes, the real owner should have a reaction, right? But Illidan entered the volcanic area before the Niuean Alliance troops. Chapter 487 Update Notes. The first thing I want to tell you is that this book will be finished in 2 months at most, that is to say, the book will be finished by the beginning of June at the latest. So in the next less than 2 months, Han Chen has planned the updates carefully and listed them here, so that book friends can have a general idea. From April 11th to April 30th, there will be a single update on odd days, and a double update on even days. Well, this is not Han Chen being lazy, but accumulating manuscripts. For details, please see the May update plan below. The odd days will be published at 2 PM every day, and the 2 chapters on even days will be published at 10 AM and 6 PM respectively. They have been placed in the manuscript box and set for scheduled release. For May, I won't say much. I will update 10,000 words every day until the end of May, when the book is probably finished. I will tell you the detailed daily update time at the end of April. Chapter 488 Newly Formed Volcano. The demons of the South Abyss Alliance had never discovered Illidan, and it was even more impossible for them to detect his presence after Illidan entered the volcanic area before them. And more importantly, after the large army entered the volcanic area, the demons of the South Abyss Alliance continued to suffer some terrifying events. Have you ever experienced that when you were crossing a mountain, the crater in front of you suddenly boiled and roared and began to erupt? Have you ever experienced that when you were crossing a canyon, countless magma suddenly flowed down from the surrounding mountains and quickly submerged the canyon? After the demon troops of the South Abyss Alliance entered the volcanic area, this kind of situation was commonplace. And more importantly, even though it had been 3 days since they entered the volcanic area, the enemies that the Demon Kings expected to appear still did not appear. For so long, the demons of the South Abyss Alliance were still struggling with the harsh environment. The Demon Kings who had previously asked for retreat showed up again, and they were really fed up with this situation. This time, the Demon Kings who had remained neutral last time also showed signs of agreeing to retreat. After all, it was too aggrieved to keep losing soldiers in the volcanic lava and not be able to fight the enemy with real weapons. Seeing the public outraged, Demon King Murphy finally had to grit his teeth and compromise. If he still couldn't find the troops of the Lava Kingdom within 5 days, then retreat. It stands to reason that no one would want to meet the enemy early because it means possible death. But now Demon King Murphy has been praying in his heart that even if the Flame Demon Emperor directly attacks, there must be an enemy. Otherwise, if he retreats like this after 5 days, it won't be a big deal for other Demon Kings. But he, the leader of the Naniuan Alliance and the initiator of this expedition, will suffer. Not only will his prestige be damaged, but he may not even be able to sit on the position of leader. Those Demon Kings whose strength has been damaged in the Lava Kingdom will definitely blame him for the loss. And Demon King Murphy's prayer really worked. After searching in the volcanic area for another 2 days, the missing enemy finally showed up, a group of tens of thousands of fire elves. Compared with the more than 200,000 demon troops of the Naniuan Alliance, these tens of thousands of fire elves are obviously not a strong force. But what came with the fire elves was the magma wave rolling and flowing between the volcanoes. Just like the last time they set a trap and secretly eliminated 50,000 demons of the Naniuan Alliance, the fire elves used their innate abilities to give the demon troops of the Naniuan Alliance a big gift. Moreover, in this area full of volcanoes, this gift is even bigger than the last time. Fortunately, after losing a large number of troops in the trap last time, the Demon Kings were already very alert. Tens of thousands of fire elves, carrying the magma gushing out from countless volcanic craters, were quite powerful. The Demon Kings in charge of vigilance discovered this terrifying scene from dozens of kilometers away. In this lava country where even the air is extremely hot, the Demon Kings in charge of vigilance could only take a breath of hot air and quickly send a signal. Fortunately, this situation had been anticipated before, and the Naniuan Alliance demon forces had also encountered many sudden volcanic eruptions in the volcanic area, so they reacted quickly. Although the surrounding volcanoes still looked dangerous, they were much better than the raging magma waves coming from the front. Under the command of the demon warlords, the demon troops were still dispersed in an orderly manner, climbing up the heights of volcanoes to avoid the upcoming flood. At the same time, more than 30 demon kings also dispersed, each responsible for blocking the crater of a volcano. If they did not do so, the fire elves would definitely detonate the volcanoes where the demon troops were hiding from the magma waves. With the help of the Demon Kings and the cooperation of the upper demons, although these volcanoes trembled after the fire elves approached, they did not erupt after all. This is also because the fire elves extracted too much underground magma from the distant volcanoes, causing the magma in this area to be replenished to other places. Otherwise, it would not be so easy to block the crater. It stands to reason that with such a quick response from the Naniuan Alliance troops, there would be no losses. After all, the magma wave is not a flood. When it flows on the ground, it will definitely not remain in a fluid state, like it does underground. Instead, it is in a state of continuous solidification. At the beginning, the magma wave coming from afar was just as the demons imagined. Although it kept rushing forward, it was also constantly solidifying at the edge, making the wave crest gradually lower. But just when everyone from the Demon King to the ordinary demon soldiers breathed a sigh of relief and felt that the crisis would be over with timely response, something unexpected happened. The tens of thousands of fire elves retreated and dived below when they were still a few kilometers away from the gathering place of the demon troops of the Nenean Alliance. Although they were carrying a large amount of magma, they did not dare to rush into the more than 200,000 demon troops led by more than 30 demon kings. When the magma wave really hit the location of the more than 10 volcanoes, where the demon troops of the Nenean Alliance were located, the originally high waves could no longer overflow the mountainside of the volcano, let alone threaten the demon troops that had already moved to the mountainside. Instead, the magma surged and made the volcanoes boil and tremble again, but they could not erupt under the full suppression of the upper demons. However, the existing volcanoes were suppressed and could not erupt, but it did not mean that new volcanoes could not. In the shocked eyes of all the demons, a bulge suddenly appeared in the magma wave flowing through the volcano, where they took refuge. Judging from the shape of the bulge just now, this bulge was a mountain. The demons were not wrong. What rose from the magma wave was a new volcano. Not far away from their feet was a hot magma that was still flowing. Although the demon soldiers were numerous, they could not stop the formation of this new volcano. The upper demons and demon kings who were able to fly over were mostly trying their best to suppress the eruption of these volcanoes, where the demon troops were avoiding the magma, and they could not spare their hands for the time being. When they made some adjustments and let a few demon kings spare their hands to investigate the situation at the magma wave where the accident occurred, the new volcano had already been fully formed in such a short time. The demon king suddenly became alert. If it was really a new volcano formed naturally in this volcanic area, it would definitely not have such a fast formation speed. In other words, someone must be playing tricks. Thinking of the tens of thousands of fire elves before, the demon kings were even more certain of this. Chapter 489 Illidan, the Fire Lord. The rapidly forming volcano didn't care what the demon kings thought. After it completely changed into a shape that was no different from other volcanoes around it, it started to erupt rapidly. Boom. The eruption of this volcano surprised the demons around it, and then they all showed horror. From this unnatural volcano, what erupted was not the magma that the demons expected, but huge boulders made of solidified lava. In order to prevent the magma flowing from afar from splashing on their subordinates, the demon kings and the upper demons took great pains to make some energy shields. Although they were not very strong, they could still play a big role in facing a little splashing liquid magma. However, when facing huge rocks with solid substance, or rocks that fell from the sky with a lot of kinetic energy, these energy shields were obviously not enough. Bang bang, as the huge rocks ejected from the crater fell one by one, the energy shields set up by the demon kings around the newly formed volcano were shattered one after another. The demon soldiers below will also face the invasion of falling rocks. However, what relieved many demon kings was that the eruption of this new volcano could only cover the 4 volcanoes around the place where it rose from the ground. The demons taking refuge on the other dozen volcanoes would not be troubled by the eruption of this volcano. In contrast, the demon kings within the range of this volcano all looked very ugly. Although a large number of boulders fell down, they directly shattered the energy shield used to prevent the splashing of magma. But for the demons with strong bodies, the impact of the boulders alone would not cause a lot of damage. It's just that for some reason, although not many demons died where the boulders fell, other demons, even legendary demon commanders, would fall into an inexplicable dizziness as long as they stayed on the ground and were hit by the boulders. The demons who fell into a dizzy state naturally could not avoid and resist the magma that was ejected from the volcano next. What made the Aerial Demon King angry was that this volcano, which was not formed naturally, actually erupted in the order of a wave of boulders and a wave of magma. This caused the surrounding demon troops to be constantly baptized by magma in a dizzy state and suffered heavy losses. The Demon King was furious, but he was still unable to take action for a while. This newly appeared volcano not only caused huge casualties, but also induced the 4 surrounding volcanoes, making them ready to move. If the nearby demon kings all took action to destroy this volcano, the demon troops would have to suffer the invasion of the 4 volcanoes. After all, the volcano that suddenly appeared from the magma wave was not formed naturally. After alternately ejecting 5 waves of boulders and magma, it stopped ejecting, and then even slowly shrank down, and merged with the magma, that was still flowing slowly. Although this volcano disappeared in the magma, the posture of it rising from the ground from countless magma when it appeared, the scene of boulders and hot flames pouring out like the earth cracking, and the sky collapsing, will always remain in the minds of the demon soldiers who participated in the battle. Especially this volcano caused the deaths of more than 20,000 demon soldiers, which made everyone remember it even more deeply. Among the more than 30 demon kings, some of them had a slightly cold look. They are all demon kings who have survived the battle of the Flame Demon Emperor's conquest of the demon world. Naturally, they know how this volcano, which is obviously unnatural, and has great destructive power, came into being. This powerful skill, which is actually directly named volcano, can only be performed by the Flame Demon King who has reached the epic level. In other words, there must be an epic flame demon under the volcano that has disappeared. The demon kings who reacted immediately communicated with each other and asked some demon kings to suppress more volcanoes. The demon kings who had freed up their hands flew to the place where the volcano disappeared, trying to find the flame demon king who existed and kill him. The lava kingdom is not as good as the abyss land. Although there is the flame demon emperor, the strongest, the number of epic demon kings is far less than that of the abyss land. Even in the heyday of the Flame Demon Emperor's boundless power, the Lava Kingdom only had more than 20 epic combat forces, which is not even as many as the number of Demon Kings in the Neoan Alliance now. Among the epic combat forces of the Lava Kingdom, there are only a few Flame Demon Kings who are of the same clan as the Flame Demon Emperor. Most of them are epic flame creatures such as Flame Elves. This may be because the appearance of a Flame Demon Emperor has consumed too much luck of the Flame Demon clan. It is also because of the rarity of epic flame demons, coupled with the fact that the highest leader of the Lava Kingdom is the Flame Demon Emperor, that epic flame demon kings are often second only to the Flame Demon Emperor in the Lava Kingdom. If an epic flame demon can be killed here, it will be a great encouragement to the morale of the demon army, and it can also severely weaken the momentum of the Lava Kingdom. These demon kings who took the risk to free up their hands did not disappoint. In the lava flow where the volcano disappeared, they really felt a powerful breath that they tried their best to hide, but still could not conceal. This breath must be the epic flame demon who used the volcano skill to kill more than 20,000 demon soldiers. The 9 demon kings floating in the air did not take action immediately. They were confident that, unless the flame demon could escape underground, they would not be able to escape under the siege of 9 powerful warriors of the same level. After all, the flame demon was not a pure fire creature, and it was impossible for it to merge into the magma and escape. However, this arrogance caused the 9 demon kings to suffer a great loss, and they could not raise their heads for a period of time afterwards. The magma that had gradually solidified between the volcanoes suddenly rolled up huge waves. The sudden wave crest even rolled over the 9 demon kings who were flying at low altitude and locking onto the epic flame demon. Normally, the demon kings would naturally not care about these ordinary magmas that could only cause a little damage to demons below the legendary level and cause fatal damage to demons below the cloud level. But just as they were trying to push away the magmas, they found that a scorching energy had already entangled them. The damage caused by this energy was very weak, but it temporarily limited the energy that the demon kings had mobilized. With such a shock, the fire demon hiding under the magma immediately seized the opportunity and fled at a speed that made the demon king dumbfounded. The epic fire demon king who stepped on the magma to create a long ripple was the one transformed by Illidan from his face. Chapter 490, Infiltrating the High Level. Illidan, the incarnation of the fire demon, could not escape from the encirclement of the 9 demon kings. Even with the help of the environment, he could not stir up the gradually solidified magma again, causing chaos and taking the opportunity to escape. If a powerful demon who knows the fire elves very well observes carefully, he will find that the tens of thousands of fire elves who use the magma wave to attack this place before, although they retreated a few kilometers away, actually activated their own innate abilities to merge into the magma and sneak into this place. When the 9 demon kings surrounded him, Illidan, who had just used up the volcanic skills that he had acquired after his body of the fire demon was upgraded to the epic level, ordered the fire elves who had been hiding in the magma to cooperate with him to take the initiative to attack. The fire elves were of low level. Even if they could use their innate abilities to hide in the magma or even control the magma to a limited extent, they could not cause damage to a strong man of the demon king's level. The reason why the 9 demon kings could not stop Illidan's escape in time was because Illidan used another skill of the fire demon, soul burning. In the state of soul burning, skills cannot be used. In other words, these demon kings cannot raise energy temporarily. For demon kings with strong bodies, this will not affect their combat effectiveness too much, but in this kind of encirclement, they can't catch up with the fire demons of the same level who are like fish in water in the flames with their bodies alone. Illidan, who had escaped far away, looked back and saw that the 9 demon kings who had escaped from the effect of soul burning were all flying towards him in a rage. It's a pity that, as long as he escapes from the encirclement, Illidan will not be able to catch up with the fire demon body that has just reached the epic level. However, the fire elves who cooperated with Illidan's attack will suffer a lot of losses. They appeared under the eyes of the demon kings, and they would be found, even if they had the ability, to merge into the magma. But this is none of his business. Anyway, he has successfully completed the task, Illidan thought in his heart. Whose task is it to complete? Of course it won't be Yuffie's. Illidan is now in the form of a fire demon. The only party that could allocate tens of thousands of fire elves to him and target the demon army of the Southern Abyss Alliance was the Lava Kingdom. That's right, Illidan had joined the Lava Kingdom because of his epic fire demon identity and even met the awakened fire demon emperor and became a high-level official of the Lava Kingdom. The task of attacking the demon army of the Southern Abyss Alliance was personally assigned to Illidan by the Fire Demon Emperor, of course. In front of the creatures of the Lava Kingdom, Illidan's identity was Gothmo, a powerful fire demon. Of course, Illidan also knew in his heart that his identity of Gothmo had not yet been fully recognized. After all, no one would be at ease with an epic fire demon who suddenly appeared without knowing his roots, even if he was the same fire demon as the Fire Demon Emperor. Because of his identity, Illidan was sent out to perform this task with a huge disparity in power. In a sense, this was also a pledge of Illidan's loyalty. If he could complete the task with all his heart and soul and kill a large number of demon soldiers from the Naniuan Alliance, then the Fire Lord would be able to rest assured and reuse him. As for the loss of tens of thousands of fire elves, Illidan was now Fire Lord, so it didn't matter if he lost some unimportant fire elves. Besides, about half of the tens of thousands of fire elves were able to escape by relying on their innate abilities, not to mention that more than 20,000 demon soldiers were killed and injured on this trip. After waiting for a while not far from where the Naniuan Alliance troops gathered, Illidan really waited for some of the fire elves to return to the team. In the hands of the angry demon kings, although these fire elves were strong and weak, their escape was not based on combat power but luck. Seeing that the Naniuan Alliance troops set out again after the magma was completely solidified, and no more fire elves escaped, Illidan chose to take the remaining more than 4,000 fire elves to the depths of the volcanic area. Although the Fire Demon Emperor, who almost represents the Lava Kingdom, can feel something in this volcanic group, as a newly surrendered Fire Demon King, it is better to report in person. With various thoughts in his mind, Illidan and the fire elves rushed away. Although Illidan and the fire elves walked away in style, the demons of the South Abyss Alliance were all worried. The 9 demon kings who were responsible for surrounding Illidan showed a trace of shame on their faces, but soon calmed down. At this point, the demon kings who originally asked to retreat no longer made a fuss. The oath made by the great demon Murphy before was fulfilled, and the demon kings unanimously agreed at that time. Now that they really met the enemy, no demon king wanted to break the previous agreement. More importantly, although the damage caused by this volcanic eruption was not as great as the trap last time, the nature was completely different. The army of the Lava Kingdom has appeared naked in front of the South Abyss Alliance, which is an obvious provocation. Especially the epic Fire Demon King. To put it bluntly, an epic level flame demon could move freely in front of more than 30 demon kings of the same level, and retreated unscathed, after killing more than 20,000 demon soldiers with his volcanic skills. Doesn't this mean that the Demon Kings of the South Abyss Alliance are all trash? Even if it is to maintain the face of being a Demon King, the high-level officials of the South Abyss Alliance cannot retreat like this. If it was the Flame Demon Emperor who took action, the demon troops of the South Abyss Alliance would retreat when they saw that things were impossible, which would be reasonable if they retreated after only being attacked by a Flame Demon King and causing some losses. The Demon Kings of the South Abyss Alliance would probably never be able to raise their heads in the land of the Abyss. For these reasons, when there were only about 220,000 troops left, the Demon Kings and soldiers of the South Abyss Alliance began to search for the troops of the Lava Kingdom in the volcanic area with a more energetic spirit than before. In this case, the Lava Kingdom did not show courtesy to the troops of the South Abyss Alliance. There were endless sneak attacks like Illidan's before. Illidan, who had gained initial trust, often appeared in front of the Demon Kings of the South Abyss Alliance to stir up their emotions. However, with the South Abyss Alliance's strict defense, the new sneak attacks could not be as risky as Illidan's last time. The losses caused by the Lava Kingdom's actions to the South Abyss Alliance troops were much smaller. Chapter 491 Appearance. Faced with the endless harassment from the Lava Kingdom, the Demon Kings of the Nenean Alliance were annoyed at first, but gradually they got used to it and no longer felt bored. Most of the people who attacked the Nenean Alliance troops were flame creatures in the Lava Kingdom, and the high-ranking fire demons were just the leaders. Those cunning fire demons did not leave a single one even in dozens of sneak attacks, but a large number of flame creatures as soldiers were killed. Speaking of it, flame creatures are actually somewhat similar to monsters. Their similarity is that after being killed, flame creatures will also leave a flame heart with the same nature as the devil's heart. For demons outside the Lava Kingdom, although they cannot directly absorb the large amount of flame energy dissipated in the Lava Kingdom, they can absorb the flame heart like using the devil's heart. The only difference from the monsters is that the flame creatures have some superficial wisdom, and the wisdom of the higher level flame creatures is not inferior to that of most demons. Most of the monsters in the Lava Kingdom are actually flame creatures without wisdom. Although the Heart of Flame is limited to the fire system, the energy contained in it is the same as that of the demon heart. For the demons of the fire system, the effect of the Heart of Flame is much stronger than that of the demon heart. Unfortunately, a large part of the soldiers selected by the Nenean Alliance for the expedition to the Lava Kingdom this time are of the fire system. This is to resist the environment of the Lava Kingdom. In the sneak attack of the Lava Kingdom troops, although the Nenean Alliance troops will suffer some losses, they can also kill a large number of flame creatures. The Heart of Flame, provided by these flame creatures, is distributed to the demons of the fire system in the team according to their contributions during the battle to enhance their strength. And this is just one of the benefits. The Demon Kings are not very interested in the Heart of Flame. What they value is that with the gradual appearance of the harassment troops of the Lava Kingdom, they have gradually figured out the distribution area of the Lava Kingdom's power in the volcanic area. In other words, they are about to achieve the original purpose of entering the volcanic area, to find the Flame Demon Emperor. Illidan has naturally appeared in the harassment troops of the Lava Kingdom. After killing more than 20,000 demon soldiers of the Nenean Alliance, the Fire Lord and other high-ranking figures of the Lava Kingdom were convinced that he was not a spy sent by the demons. Even a self-torture tactic would not cost such a high price, not to mention that Illidan was transformed into a pure Fire Lord. That time, Illidan killed more than 20,000 demon soldiers with a volcanic skill, and thought that he would get a lot of experience to upgrade to level 10, but after the death of more than 20,000 demon soldiers, he did not get countless experience as expected. He didn't know whether it was because he couldn't get experience after transforming into another form, or after he was promoted to the mythical level. These ordinary demon soldiers could no longer provide experience to him who was too high in level. However, judging from some previous signs, the latter possibility should be greater. For the tasks assigned by the Fire Lord, Illidan's incarnation, the Fire Lord Gothmo, has always been dedicated and tried his best. He quickly dispelled the Fire Lord's vigilance and successfully infiltrated the high level of the Lava Kingdom. After all, a guy who has been sleeping for more than 1,000 years has just woken up, so his brain is definitely not enough, and it is very easy to fool him. Of course, this is also related to Illidan's ability to kill a large number of demons without hesitation in the battle with the South Abyss Alliance. The guy who can kill the demons of the South Abyss Alliance at will can't be a spy. It's a pity that the Fire Lord didn't know that this Gothmo, who looked like a pure Fire Lord in his eyes, was actually a Night Elf that was neither a species of the Lava Kingdom nor a demon of the Abyss. To be precise, both the Lava Kingdom and the Abyss Demon are Illidan's enemies, so of course he will not hesitate to kill them. Just watching the demons of the South Abyss Alliance, one by one, looking so happy in the continuous attacks, thinking that they were about to find the Fire Lord's lair and win, Illidan couldn't help but feel a sense of pity in his heart. The Demon Kings of the South Abyss Alliance thought too simply of the Fire Lord and even the Lava Kingdom. It's hard to say in other places, but in the Lava Kingdom, especially in this volcanic area, even if Illidan recovers his body, he is not sure to defeat the Fire Demon Emperor. This is the Fire Demon Emperor who has just woken up and is still relatively weak. The help brought by the environment is too great for the Fire Demon Emperor. Let's put it this way, the Fire Demon Emperor fighting in this volcanic group is equivalent to the endless demonic aura of Illidan after his demon transformation. However, the loss of the South Abyss Alliance has nothing to do with Illidan. He hopes that the local forces in the demon world will fight to the death, so that the Blood Elves will have room to fish in troubled waters. So, Illidan enthusiastically participated in the harassment of the South Abyss Alliance, and lured the large forces of the South Abyss Alliance to the place where the Fire Demon Emperor was. This was actually the intention of the Fire Demon Emperor. Finally, when the South Abyss Alliance troops entered the volcanic area for a full 10 days, they finally came to the place they had been looking for. Among the countless towering volcanoes, a basin suddenly appeared. This basin is extremely vast, but there is still a tall volcano in the center. After crossing countless volcanoes of all sizes, the scene that appeared before the eyes of the demons of the South Abyss Alliance was this. After suffering multiple attacks from the creatures of the Lava Kingdom, plus 2 major losses and casualties caused by the environment of the Lava Kingdom, when they arrived at this basin, the 300,000 demon soldiers of the South Abyss Alliance had only a little over 200,000 left. However, in the eyes of the Demon Kings, these 200,000 demon soldiers were enough. The demon soldiers who were able to withstand the test of the environment and enemies of the Lava Kingdom, and survived to this day. Not to say that they were all elite, at least they had adapted to the environment of the Lava Kingdom, and their combat effectiveness would not be weakened much. In the spiritual perception of more than 30 Demon Kings, the life breath in this huge basin was only about 100,000. Even if the environment had a strength increase for the creatures of the Lava Kingdom, 200,000 demon soldiers were enough to resist. As long as the soldiers were evenly matched, more than 30 Demon Kings were still confident that they could defeat a Flame Demon Emperor and less than 10 epic level strongmen of the Lava Kingdom. In their opinion, more than 20 epic Demon Kings would definitely be able to defeat the weakened Flame Demon Emperor. Just as the Nenean Alliance confidently marched into the basin, the huge volcano in the center of the basin suddenly roared, and a majestic and fiery figure emerged from it. The Flame Demon Emperor appeared. Chapter 492, Flaming Mountain. Speaking of which, it was also the first time that Illidan saw the Fire Lord in person. Before, because of the week period after waking up, the Fire Lord had been soaking in the huge volcano to absorb energy. Even when Illidan, under the alias of the epic Firelord Gothmo, came to serve, he could only listen to the voice of the Fire Lord outside the volcano and follow his instructions. Although Illidan could see the true appearance of the Fire Lord, if he used his mythical mental power to scan, he would definitely be discovered by the Fire Lord, who was also mythical, and the gain would not outweigh the loss. Therefore, when the Fire Lord's true body appeared from the huge volcano in the center of the basin, Illidan couldn't help but admire it in his heart. This is the style of a mythical demon. The body that Illidan himself has now is also a Fire Lord, and it is an epic Fire Lord second only to the mythical level. But in terms of size alone, it is far from the Fire Lord. This volcano in the center of the basin can be regarded as the largest one in the entire volcanic area. Illidan, who had been in various places in the volcanic area to attack the Nenean Alliance troops, had a say in this. But even such a volcano, which could be called the largest in the Lava Kingdom, seemed unable to accommodate the body of the Fire Demon Emperor. Illidan's sharp eyesight allowed him to see that the solid rock formed by the solidified magma in the crater had cracks under the pressure of the fire demon emperor's body. The first thing that appeared from the crater was 3 thick black spikes. The spikes on both sides looked like huge horns, and the front part was red, which looked very majestic and domineering. This was the crown on the top of the fire demon emperor. Although it looked a bit crude, the dark color showed that it was the purest material formed by the solidification of magma, which was extremely hard. The head that appeared immediately after the crown was naturally the head of the fire demon emperor. This head was the same as that of ordinary fire demons. It was a bright red magma, burning with golden red flames. From it, you could vaguely see the existence of eyes and mouth, but that was just a symbolic organ. In fact, compared to the huge horn-shaped crown, the body of the fire demon emperor is thinner. If you really want to describe his appearance, it is actually similar to the epic fire demon Illidan, but he is wearing black armor like the crown, and the places not covered by the armor are the same as the liquid magma of ordinary fire demons. However, because of his huge body, the power of the fire demon emperor is completely different. The face of the fire demon can be called ugly because the head flowing with magma is quite distorted. But when the head expands to the size of a house, it does not look distorted. The golden eyes and mouth set off the fiery red face, and it is impossible to tell that it is a demon in a weak period. The fire demon emperor emerged from the huge volcano with great momentum, but he did not cause the eruption of the volcano. Although this is the largest volcano in the lava kingdom, and there is endless underground lava to replenish it, the fire demon emperor is still short of energy after absorbing it for dozens of days, and the eruption is terrible. However, the effort of this volcano is obviously not without reward. Illidan could feel that the Fire Lord had become stronger than when he first joined the Lava Kingdom. He had recovered a lot of strength in the past 10 days. The faces of the demon kings of the Southern Abyss Alliance who had just stepped into the basin changed slightly, but they did not weaken their momentum. More than 30 demon kings, led by the great demon king Murphy, stepped forward for a distance to resist the aura of the mythical strongman that naturally descended with the appearance of the Fire Lord. For a moment, more than 30 demon kings joined forces to suppress the momentum of the Fire Lord, which made them feel relieved. The demon soldiers behind them also became arrogant when they saw this scene, as if victory was a piece of cake. Mixed in a group of fire elves, Illidan couldn't help but curl his lips. More than 30 against one person only slightly suppressed the momentum. What's there to be proud of? Everything depends on the situation after the actual battle. As the second level leader in the Lava Kingdom besides the Fire Demon Emperor, Illidan's incarnation of the Fire Demon King Gosmo now leads tens of thousands of flame creatures. In addition to the familiar flame elves, there are also a large number of magma crabs, flame shells and other fire creatures that look like aquatic animals, but live in magma. Even because he has initially gained the trust of the Fire Demon Emperor, Illidan, a fellow tribesman, was assigned a strategic level creature, the Flame Mountain. You heard it right. This creature that made you very want to complain is called the Flame Mountain, and its appearance is indeed a hill burning with flames. It's just that compared to the surrounding volcanoes, the size of the Flame Mountain is much smaller. But even so, the power of the Flame Mountain is still very strong. Otherwise it would not be called a strategic level combat force. In the place where the Nenean Alliance and the Lava Kingdom troops are fighting, there are now 2 Flame Mountains participating in the battle. However, these 2 Flame Mountains have not shown the power of fighting for the time being, but exist as something similar to a frontline base. Every flame creature that fought with the demon soldiers could survive, as long as its core was not broken, and its flame heart was not stripped away, even if only a small ball of flame remained on its body. If such severely damaged flame creatures could return to the Flame Mountain before being completely killed, the blazing flames on it would gradually replenish the energy of these flame creatures with only the core left. It only took a few minutes for the dying flame creatures to fight vigorously again. Seeing this scene from Illidan's perspective, Yufei couldn't help but think of the combat mode of the robot army in the science fiction novels he had read on Earth. Those flame creatures were like robots. The Flame Mountain was like a maintenance factory on the front line. As long as the core chip of the robot was not destroyed, it could be recovered in the maintenance factory and quickly repaired, and continue to participate in the battle. The relationship between the flame creatures and the flame mountain was like this. Such creatures can indeed be called strategic level, Euphemicide. However, in Illidan's understanding, the flame mountain not only serves as a frontline base, but also has a very strong killing ability. It just so happened that the Lava Kingdom troops were in a bit of a tight spot facing the demon troops that outnumbered them, so Illidan led his troops forward and arrived at the front line. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493, Murphy the Great Devil. As Illidan's troops advanced, the most eye-catching thing was the movement of the Flame Mountain. Unlike ordinary hills, the shape of the Flame Mountain is a relatively regular tetrahedron, and the way they move forward is to roll. As an elemental creature, the Flame Mountain does not have organs such as eyes and mouth, so there is no question of which side is the front. But every time it rolls, Illidan feels the ground under his feet tremble, as if a mountain really collapsed. In his mind, Illidan secretly compared the Flame Mountain with the Mountain Giant. Although the Mountain Giant is already a large-sized soldier, it is not as good as the Flame Mountain. Fortunately, there are no more than 20 of these special creatures in the entire Lava Kingdom, which is slightly more than the number of epic level strongmen in the Lava Kingdom, so there is no need to worry too much. Illidan chose to lead his flame creatures to actively participate in the battle on the front line, and naturally he had some small thoughts. It's a pity that he had just put all his troops on the front line, but the voice transmission of the Fire Demon Emperor shattered his idea. Gothmo, go and stop that Demon King Logger. I have seen it 1,000 years ago. Its fighting power should be about the same as yours now. It is just right for you to be trained. Illidan was depressed, but he had to find the Demon King named Logger, as the Fire Lord said. After confirming that Illidan, the younger generation of the Fire Lord, was not a spy, the Fire Lord still valued him. Otherwise, he would not have chosen an evenly matched opponent for Illidan at such a critical moment to train him. But if possible, Illidan would rather not value him. His disguised identity, the Fire Lord Gothmo, was firmly remembered by the Demon Kings of the South Abyss Alliance. During the volcanic invasion and the subsequent harassment war, Illidan made great efforts to gain the trust of the Fire Lord, which naturally made the Demon Kings of the South Abyss Alliance hate him. He originally saw those Demon Kings surrounding the Fire Lord one by one, so he thought that he should keep a low profile and get into the area where the soldiers were fighting, so as not to attract the attention of those Demon Kings and be targeted. Who would have thought that the Fire Lord would actually drag him out and specifically ask him to fight against a Demon King of the enemy army? Fortunately, the Fire Lord was not targeting Illidan. Facing more than 30 Demon Kings, the Fire Lord did not make a move to resist alone. In addition to Illidan, the epic fighters in the Lava Kingdom also took action, each finding a Demon King from the South Abyss Alliance to entangle and fight, to reduce the pressure on the Fire Lord. Illidan sighed in his heart. He had already started fighting with the Logger Demon King, and as expected, the Logger Demon King was like a gunpowder after recognizing his identity as the Fire Lord Gothmo, and started fighting with all his strength. After all, it was not his own body, and it had just been promoted to the epic level not long ago. Facing the attack of the Logger Demon King, Illidan was really a little flustered for a while. The Fire Lord had a very sharp vision. The opponent he found, Logger, had the strength to slightly suppress the Fire Lord Gothmo, but he was not easily defeated. Although he was temporarily at a disadvantage due to some reasons, Illidan still had the mythical combat awareness. As he gradually became familiar with the power and combat methods of the epic Fire Lord, he gradually turned the tide of the battle. Although Illidan had fought several times with the Nenean Alliance's troops as the Fire Lord Gothmo, they were all sneak attacks, and he usually just used a skill and ran away. Without a direct battle, he could not be familiar with the combat methods of the newly promoted epic Fire Lord. Now, after fighting with Logger for a period of time, Illidan can proudly declare that he knows the combat methods of the Fire Lord better than the real Fire Lord. However, it is not good to show up so quickly. Illidan gradually stopped using his mythical combat awareness and slowed down the pace of the battle. The Fire Lord, who was fighting against him, was also a little uneasy at this time. At the beginning of the first round of attack, it had gained some advantages from the hateful Fire Lord who had been attacking its team. However, as the battle went on, this advantage not only failed to expand, but it was gradually suppressed by the hateful Fire Lord. Fortunately, it seemed that the hateful Fire Lord was only showing off his courage for a while, and then his strength was slightly weakened, forming a situation of equal strength with itself. Cheer up, Logger Demon King tried his best to prepare for a good fight with Illidan. However, he didn't know that, if Illidan wanted to, he could defeat it in just half a minute, after he was familiar with the Fire Lord's fighting style. If it weren't for the thought that the Fire Lord would definitely assign him an opponent after defeating Logger Demon King, Illidan would have dealt with this guy long ago. Now Illidan only divided part of his attention to the battle with Logger Demon King, and he was more concerned about the situation on the Fire Lord's side. Although the Lava Kingdom's existing more than 10 epic level combat forces blocked more than 10 Demon Kings from the Naniuan Alliance, there were still as many as 20 Demon Kings besieging the Fire Demon Emperor. Among them, there were strong men like the Great Demon King Murphy who were only one step away from the mythical level. The first person to attract Illidan's attention was the Great Demon King Murphy, the initiator and leader of the Naniuan Alliance. As a powerful Demon King who had just entered the world in 1,000 years, even though Illidan was an outsider, he had still heard of his reputation. However, Illidan only knew that the legend said that the Great Demon King Murphy was powerful enough to threaten the position of the first Demon King in the demon world, the Great Demon King Dire, and did not know where he was strong. Now when fighting the Fire Demon Emperor, the Great Demon King Murphy was using all his strength, allowing Illidan to observe him carefully. First of all, Illidan confirmed that the Great Demon King Murphy was actually a Demon King who could use multiple types of spells. Unlike ordinary Demon Kings, the strength of the Great Demon King Murphy was not in his body, but in his endless spells. During the time that Illidan was observing, Lord Murphy had already cast 3 types of spells, including Chain Lightning, Charged Bullets, and Blizzard, on the huge body of the Fire Lord. Although these spells did not have any obvious effect on the Fire Lord, they were still amazing. In addition to Lord Murphy, the other 19 Demon Kings who besieged the Fire Lord also showed their magical powers and used their best skills to try to solve the mythical Fire Lord. However, in Illidan's view, this was just wishful thinking. Chapter 494, The Power of the Demon Emperor. Facing the fierce attacks of as many as 20 Demon Kings, the Fire Demon Emperor seemed very calm. It is said that it is now in a weak period after waking up early, but in fact, this weakness refers to insufficient energy, which means that even if the attack ability is lacking, the defense is not affected much by this weak state. At least 20 attacks, including the Great Demon King Murphy, fell on the dark armor of the Fire Demon Emperor, leaving no trace at all. Illidan curled his lips. These Demon Kings are actually attacking the armor. You know, the only substantial thing on the Fire Demon is this armor condensed by the purest fire energy and magma, and its sturdiness can be imagined. Fortunately, the Demon Kings are not stubborn, and soon shifted the target of the attack to the huge head of the Fire Demon Emperor. There is no armor to protect his face. Poison Nova. The Great Demon King Murphy once again released a spell that he had never shown before, but it was a rare poison spell. In theory, this spell should be used in group battles, but because the Flame Demon Emperor's body is relatively large, and his head alone is larger than a house, it is a good opportunity to use this ranged skill, Toxic Nova. Apart from anything else, if this spell really works, it will definitely turn the Flame Demon Emperor's fiery red face green. Unfortunately, the Demon King's attacks still failed to work. Perhaps angry at the Demon King slapping the Flame Demon Emperor, who had been watching the situation on the field without taking any action since he came out of the volcano, finally fought back. It seems that, because of his huge body, the Flame Demon Emperor did not fly into the air after leaving the volcano, but just stood in front of the volcano. The 20 Demon Kings of the Naniuan Alliance flew over the battlefield and came to the Flame Demon Emperor to fight. Facing the attacks coming from all directions, the Flame Demon Emperor's eyes, which looked like dancing golden flames, suddenly flashed a few times, and then a long column of flame spurted out from his mouth, which was the same color as his eyes. The speed of these energy chains was so fast that, even though the great demon king Murphy was aware of the chains coming, his body could not react, and he could only watch himself being bound by the flame chains. Fortunately, after being entangled by the flame chains, the demon kings felt some burning effects, but the damage was not very strong. However, when trying to break free from these chains, the 20 demon kings suddenly realized that these seemingly weak flame chains could not be broken in one go. The flame demon emperor did not give these demon kings time to break free from the flame chains. Even if these chains were not broken, they would not last long. The flame demon emperor raised his right arm high, and a cluster of blazing flames condensed on his huge claws. The claws suddenly closed, and the cluster of flames was extinguished. Then the flame demon emperor swung his right arm downward, accompanied by countless sparks. Following the flame demon emperor's action, a cluster of flames with the same shape as the one that had just been extinguished in the flame demon emperor's hand suddenly appeared above the heads of the 20 demon kings bound by the flame chains, but it was much larger. Just as the flame demon emperor swung his right arm, the cluster of flames above the demon king's heads also fell rapidly, and in the process of falling, it wantonly expanded its body shape, and soon turned into a raging fire. Originally, when encountering this kind of palm method, that fell from the sky, when it fell from the sky and the speed was not fast, the demon kings could quickly dodge it with their flying ability, but now they were still bound by the flame chains, so they could only boom. A mushroom cloud suddenly bloomed in the air, followed by a dozen charred figures falling quickly. Bound by the flame chains, the 20 demon kings of the Naniuan alliance who were responsible for besieging the flame demon emperor almost took the attack of the flame demon emperor head on. Except for the great demon king Murphy and several powerful demon kings, 13 demon kings were blown up and burned black by this attack and fell to the ground. Although it was impossible to kill these demon kings with just this round of attacks, the means of turning the hands of the flame demon emperor into clouds and rains really shocked the demon kings present. Among the 7 demon kings who barely floated in the air, the posture of the great demon king Murphy was the best, and only the tail was blown black. However, with just this round of attacks, the great demon king Murphy clearly realized the gap between himself and the flame demon emperor. Is the myth level so powerful? The great demon king Murphy was a little confused. In his original idea, he was only one step away from the myth level. Even if he could not defeat the flame demon emperor alone, with the help of other demon kings, he would be able to defeat the flame demon emperor through siege. But reality gave demon king Murphy a resounding slap in the face. The siege tactics that he had high hopes for were severely hit by the flame demon emperor in just 2 moves. Although he still had a backhand and did not show his true strength, even if he showed his trump card, he would probably be able to tie with the current flame demon emperor. Demon king Murphy knew clearly that the flame demon emperor was definitely not showing all his strength now. He was already doubting in his heart whether his action would fail this time. The flame demon emperor did not care what demon king Murphy was thinking. The flame demon emperor was also a little surprised that there were still 7 demon kings who could barely stay in the air under his 2 consecutive attacks. But he did not care. As demon king Murphy judged, the strength shown by the flame demon emperor was just the tip of the iceberg. The 13 charred demon kings on the ground did not lose their fighting power and quickly climbed up, but their eyes lost the previous relaxed look. Chapter 495 Summoning the Flame Demon. Seeing that the dozen demon kings that he had knocked to the ground had gotten up so quickly, the flame demon emperor was obviously a little depressed and even murmured to himself, "This damn weak period, a flame explosion didn't even kill even 1 demon king, how shameful." Although he was muttering to himself, the flame demon emperor's huge body determined that his voice would definitely not be small. Almost all the creatures on the battlefield heard the words of the flame demon emperor, and everyone's reaction was to look at each other in bewilderment. Is it shameful to knock down 13 demon kings with 1 blow? What would it be like when it's not shameful to kill 20 demon kings with 1 move? The 13 demon kings who got up from the ground also looked ashamed. Although demons are thick-skinned, it is really too shameful to be knocked down from the air in front of hundreds of thousands of demons. But this cannot be blamed on them. If the flame chain had not suddenly appeared and tied them up tightly, and the flame explosions had not continued without stopping, as demon kings, they would not have been so easily defeated. However, even with such a great psychological blow, the Demon Kings of the Nenean Alliance did not give up the fight. In their view, the current embarrassment was only caused by the conspiracy of the Flame Demon Emperor when they were not careful. At least, no Demon King was seriously injured by this attack, right? This means that there is still a possibility of fighting. In the eyes of the Flame Demon Emperor with interest, the 20 Demon Kings of the Nenean Alliance divided into groups. Those Demon Kings with larger bodies and stronger bodies began to approach the Flame Demon Emperor and prepare for close combat. Before, they were releasing long-range attacks that they were not good at from a distance, and it was reasonable that they did not achieve any effect. The rest, like the great Demon King Murphy, who were better at long-range attacks, dispersed and flew to all directions of the Flame Demon Emperor's body, ready to bloom in all directions. Obviously, the Demon Kings were ready to use the tactics of fighting boss with the advantage of numbers. But if it really comes down to numbers, the Fire Demon Emperor is not afraid at all. Although his epic masters are entangled by other Demon Kings of the Nenean Alliance, it does not mean that the Fire Demon Emperor has no help. With his arms folded in front of his chest, the Fire Demon Emperor slowly raised his arms upwards, as if he was holding something. As he did this, dozens of steaming traces suddenly appeared on the ground. These traces began to slowly rise up when the Fire Demon Emperor raised his arms. When the Fire Demon Emperor raised his arms to the highest point, magma monsters stood up one by one at those traces. This is the Fire Demon's innate ability to summon magma monsters. Illidan also used this skill to fight against the hellfire summoned by Duke Dracula when fighting him. The magma monster summoned by the Fire Demon Emperor is much stronger than the one summoned by Illidan at that time just from the appearance. Illidan's Fire Demon body was still at the legendary level at that time, and the magma monster summoned was just a mass of magma. The magma monster summoned by the Fire Demon Emperor now is a smaller version of the Fire Demon from the appearance alone, except that it does not have those dark armors. The aura emitted by these small fire demons is not so epic, but with a blessing of the surrounding environment, they can barely fight against a Demon King together. The Fire Demon Emperor summoned a total of more than 20 small fire demons, and entangled 7 Demon Kings in groups. After that, the pressure on the Fire Demon Emperor was naturally much less. However, it did not directly use skills to defeat the enemy as before, but only relied on its relatively strong defense to fight with the remaining 13 Demon Kings, looking like it was stalling for time. The Demon Kings were puzzled, but they did not feel any danger. Even if there were 4 of those small fire demons together, a single Demon King could easily suppress them, and it was only a matter of time to solve them. And facing an opponent like the Fire Demon Emperor who only defended and did not counterattack, who would not like it? But Illidan sighed in his heart, stupid mortals. As a mythical and powerful being, how could the Fire Demon Emperor be so good-tempered that he would not fight back? Didn't you see that he just slapped down 13 Demon Kings with 2 moves? Since he chose to delay time, it must be beneficial for him to delay. Sure enough, just after Illidan and the Demon King Lorga fought back and forth for half a minute, something unexpected happened to the Fire Demon Emperor. The 7 Demon Kings who were suppressing the little fire demons were horrified to find that the 4 little fire demons in front of them suddenly swelled up. Then, before they could react, these little fire demons split one by one and split into 2. Suddenly, the hearts of the Demon Kings were like thousands of grass mud horses galloping through. Originally, they thought that, even if they couldn't deal with these little fire demons that were obviously summoned creatures for a while, they could gradually delay until the duration of these summons passed, and they disappeared automatically. But who would have thought that these little fire demons not only did not disappear on their own as they imagined, but after fighting for a while, they actually split on their own and their number became twice as many as before. More importantly, the strength of the little flame demon after the split was actually no worse than that of the little flame demon before the split. The 7 Demon Kings who were originally holding the mentality of delaying time were no longer calm. They could still suppress 4 little flame demons, and they were not afraid of 5, but suddenly it became 8, which was really a bit too much. Under the help of these 7 Demon Kings, the 13 Demon Kings who had been besieging the Flame Demon Emperor, but to no avail, had to separate 3 to resist those little flame demons. But even so, facing the doubled number of little flame demons, they had to fight 5 or 6 each, and they could no longer suppress the situation before. Seeing the response of the demon kings of the Neoan alliance to his summons, the flame demon emperor had no reaction, and even when the 3 demon kings retreated from the battle circle, they had no intention of leaving them. This gave the demon kings in the battle a sense of foreboding. Soon, they knew where this ominous premonition came from. The 13 demon kings besieging the Firelord had not achieved much success, and after 3 of them withdrew, the fight became even more boring. It seemed that neither side was hurt, just like the battle between Illidan and the demon king Logger. However, after the other 10 demon kings fought with the little Firelords for a while, they watched with horror as the 56 little Firelords expanded again. Chapter 496, the Neoan Alliance retreats. Puff, puff. With the sound of the body splitting, the little fire demons split into 112. Each of these little fire demons has legendary combat power. What is the concept of 112 legends? Each of the demon kings fighting against these little fire demons has to face more than 110. The eyes of the great demon king Murphy, who was still doing his best to release various types of spells, went dark. It knew that its massive expedition this time was a complete failure. On the battlefield, although the Neoan alliance had some advantages in terms of soldiers, the Lava Kingdom had the bonus of the environment, plus the support of special life forms such as the Flame Mountain. The 2 sides fought very fiercely. In terms of high-end combat power, the Neoan alliance, on the one hand, divided a dozen demon kings to resist the more than 10 epic combat forces that appeared on the Lava Kingdom side. On the other hand, 20 demon kings were besieging the Flame Demon Emperor. The demon kings in the epic battle with the Lava Kingdom were not bad. Some of them were able to suppress the opponent and some were suppressed by the enemy, but generally speaking, it was balanced. However, the battle circle besieging the Flame Demon Emperor was in an awkward situation, because they misjudged the strength of the mythical strongest. It was embarrassing enough to be knocked down by the Flame Demon Emperor with 2 moves, but thinking that 20 against 1 was definitely a sure win, it was just carelessness before, so they continued to fight with the strength of numbers. Who would have thought that the Flame Demon Emperor would not underestimate the number of people? Seeing that the 10 demon kings were in danger under the siege of the small flame demons that were more than 10 times their own, some of the 10 demon kings besieging the Flame Demon Emperor couldn't help but want to rescue them. But this time, the Flame Demon Emperor refused to do it. Come as you please, and leave as you please. Do you think this is a brothel? Even if it is a brothel, you have to leave something behind. The Fire Lord, who had been fighting lazily like a sick tiger, used 2 more moves to shoot down the 13 demon kings. He was so powerful that he spared no energy and cast various spells to entangle the 10 demon kings around him. The demon kings looked at each other bitterly and could only sigh and force themselves to face the incoming flames. Kill. Chase them and kill all the invaders. The shouts rang out, but few responded. Illidan looked around awkwardly and did not issue any more such mobilizations. He and his subordinates began to chase the demon army in front of them. In the battle in the basin, the 2 sides seemed to be evenly matched, but the Firelord fought against 20 demon kings alone, and he was not at all inferior. The summoned little fire demons fought 10 against 1, and soon the weaker demon kings were unable to resist and fled in embarrassment. The demon king who fled first was alert and managed to escape, but he pitted the other demon kings who were fighting against the little flame demons. Originally, these demon kings were not strong enough to fight against more than 10 little flame demons. After this demon king fled, the 11 little flame demons he was fighting against all found another demon king next to him. 20 little flame demons attacked together, and the demon king was caught off guard and fell. There was no way he didn't have the ability of the Flame Demon Emperor to fight against 20 enemies 1 level lower than himself. And this guy who was pitted by his stupid teammates became the first demon king to fall in the battle between the 2 sides. Then, like overturning dominoes, the Neoan alliance was defeated. The 10 demon kings who besieged the Flame Demon Emperor saw that things were not going well, and each of them tried their best to escape from the entanglement of the Flame Demon Emperor, and rescued the remaining demon kings who were drowned in the wave of little flame demons. The Firelord was relentless and immediately floated into the air, chasing after the dozen demon kings who had been attacking him without mercy. The little Firelords were driven by the Firelord to the battlefield of the 2 large armies, because they could not keep up with the speed. Such a force that was enough to break the balance joined the battlefield, and the demon soldiers watched the powerful demon kings fall, and more than a dozen demon kings were chased and beaten by the Fire Lord, and their morale plummeted. As a result, the originally evenly matched battle quickly turned into a disadvantageous situation, and Illidan saw that there was no excitement, so he simply looked like he had finally found an opportunity after a hard fight. After a few feints, he finally killed the Lorga Demon King and ran to his own troops to bully the demon soldiers. This became the last straw that broke the camel's back. Although Illidan freed his hands and did not help the other epics of his own side, as a Fire Lord, he was able to slightly control the little Fire Lord summoned and split by the Fire Lord. After setting up a rough arrow array, these hundreds of legendary little fire demons turned into the sharpest sharp knife, stabbing into the heart of the demon army. Although these little fire demons, which could only split twice at most, disappeared one after another because the summoning time had expired. After fighting for a while, the Lava Kingdom had already won the game. The demon kings who were fighting against the epic powerhouses of the Lava Kingdom struggled to break free from their opponents, and then began to lead the defeated demon army to retreat. However, they could not retreat whenever they wanted. After chasing the dozen demon kings, the Fire Demon Emperor retreated back to the basin when he saw that he could not kill more demon kings. This battle consumed a lot of energy, and although it seemed majestic, it actually prolonged his weakness. Even the Fire Demon Emperor did not participate in the next big pursuit, but handed over the command to the Fire Demon Gothmo, who had achieved brilliant results in the battle and killed a demon king, that is, Illidan. Illidan trembled all over when he received this assignment. Illidan, a fake fire demon, actually managed to get to a position above 10,000 people in the Lava Kingdom. Even if it was because I had just killed the Demon King Lorga, which made the Fire Demon Emperor very happy, it was too fake. However, Illidan would naturally not refuse such a good thing. He immediately led the troops of the Lava Kingdom to launch a great pursuit that stretched for thousands of miles. However, the flame creatures under him were not very interested in Gosmo, the new boss who came out of nowhere, so there was a scene where Illidan shouted slogans but no one responded. Of course, Illidan would not care about this. What he wanted was to weaken the overall strength of the demon world. He would like to have this kind of internal friction for the entire demon world more often. So in the process of chasing the Nenean Alliance troops, Illidan seemed to work particularly hard, which made the demons of the Nenean Alliance hate the fire demon Gosmo, who had harassed them all the way. Chapter 497 The Second Expedition. During the melee in the basin, Illidan found that the reason why he couldn't gain experience at the beginning was indeed because the demon soldiers he killed before were too low compared to his current level. When he killed the Demon King Lorga, he gained some experience points. Therefore, during the pursuit, Illidan also used his power for personal gain and stared at those demon kings. Although for him now, even epic enemies cannot provide him with enough experience, a mosquito leg is still meat. No matter how small it is, it would be a waste not to take it. The Fire Demon Emperor chased the dozen demon kings including the Demon King Murphy far away, so although Illidan only brought more than a dozen epic flame creatures, he was able to chase the large army of the South Abyss Alliance with great force. However, when the Fire Demon Emperor retreated for a few days, the dozen demon kings who were almost chased out of the Lava Kingdom also gritted their teeth and returned to meet the large army. In this way, although the demon army of the Nenean Alliance was still in a state of defeat, it had more than 20 demon kings to support it, and its high-end combat power was completely better than that of the Lava Kingdom without the Fire Demon Emperor. Seeing that things were impossible, Illidan had to give up the pursuit and return to the volcanic area with his troops. Because the Fire Demon Emperor consumed a lot of energy during the war and prolonged his weakness, he had already sneaked back to the big volcano to continue absorbing the power of the Lava Kingdom's veins for recovery. Illidan had already gained the trust of the Fire Demon Emperor and was appointed to temporarily manage the Lava Kingdom after the pursuit was completed. In fact, Illidan was not very interested in this kind of management power because no matter how many flame creatures he could command, the Fire Demon Emperor wanted to deprive him of his power with just a word. But anyway, this power was picked up for free, and it might be used well. 2 flowers bloom, each showing its own beauty. Illidan can be said to be very proud and became the second person in the Lava Kingdom, but the situation on the Naniuan Alliance side was not so good. Of the 300,000 troops that set out at the beginning of the expedition, only more than 100,000 were left when they escaped from the Lava Kingdom, a loss of about 3/5. Of the more than 30 demon kings, 9 had fallen in the Lava Kingdom. In an era when the fall of a demon king could cause a regional shock, it was enough to be called a shocking change. The Flame Demon Emperor demonstrated his mythical power in the war in which the Naniuan Alliance invaded the Lava Kingdom. Even the arrogant Great Demon King Murphy had to admit that he had underestimated the power of the mythical strongest. More importantly, after such a big blow, the entire Naniuan Alliance became unstable. If it weren't for the 30 or so demon kings supporting it, the demon forces in other places would have already begun to tear off a piece of flesh from the Naniuan Alliance. It was precisely because of the external threat that the Naniuan Alliance did not collapse after being hit hard, but barely maintained itself. Even the Great Demon King Murphy, who was accused of being a criminal, was not dismissed in the end and continued to serve as the leader of the alliance. This is also because no one wants to be in this position now. However, just when the Naniuan Alliance was in turmoil, Murphy Demon City welcomed a group of uninvited guests. Tap, 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 with the sound of horse hooves, several tall figures appeared in front of Murphy Demon City. Looking closely, these figures were Death Knights wearing black armor and riding skeleton war horses. Behind the 4 Death Knights, there were more liches emitting icy breath, and 3 fear demons that looked a bit like bat-winged demons. And on the ground, there were some protrusions following the Death Knights and others, as if there were some creatures hidden underground. Murphy Demon City is one of the largest cities in the southern part of the Wuuan land, and there are many demons coming in and out. These Death Knights, liches, etc. add up to only a dozen or so. Although they look weird, no one bothers to interfere and allows them to enter the city. However, this team attracted the attention of many demons afterwards. Because after entering the city, they actually went directly to the center of the city without any hesitation. And the center of the city is where the residence of the Great Demon King Murphy is located. Could it be that the Naniuan Alliance had just lost a battle and someone came to pick a fight? A few demons who were closely watching this team couldn't help but have this idea. Under the gaze of more and more demons who noticed this team, the 4 Death Knights in the lead suddenly broke through the gate of the Great Demon King Murphy's residence and rushed in directly. Then, several powerful breaths that made people's heart palpitate came out from the residence of the Great Demon King Murphy, but they were fleeting. This made the demons who thought that the Murphy Demon City was going to be attacked a little confused. Was the fight going on or not? The demons outside didn't know what happened, but the Great Demon King Murphy in the residence had a few drops of cold sweat on his forehead. Although there were 2 demon kings on both sides, it didn't feel safe at all. Where did these strange guys come from? Exclamation mark. In its perception, every figure in this team that broke into its mansion without hesitation has the strength of a demon king. Although they are almost all the weaker demon kings, the number of nearly 20 is far beyond the ability of the Great Demon King Murphy to resist. After all, he is not the Flame Demon King. What are you doing here? The voice of the Great Demon King Murphy was extremely dry. Among those cold figures, the lich who exuded an aura almost at the same level as it responded softly. Hello, Lord Murphy. We are here to seek cooperation on behalf of the undead demon realm. After a great defeat in the war with the Lava Kingdom, the Naniuan Alliance almost became a joke in the Wuuan land. Together with the Great Demon King Murphy, who was originally thought to be a threat to the position of the first Demon King of the Great Demon King Dire, everyone unanimously felt that he was overestimated. But just when the Naniuan Alliance was in a gloomy mood, the Great Demon King Murphy once again convened the Demon Kings of various demon cities and held a meeting. No one else knew what was discussed at the meeting. What everyone knew was that after the meeting, the Naniuan Alliance released another explosive news. The Naniuan Alliance vowed not to give in and would once again conquer the Lava Kingdom. For a moment, the entire Wuuan land was in an uproar. Did the Demon Kings of the Naniuan Alliance have their brains stuck? They had gathered 300,000 troops but were defeated. Now that their strength has been weakened to the limit, they are still going to conquer the Lava Kingdom without knowing whether to live or die. Isn't this courting death? Or is there some hidden story behind this? Chapter 498 Speculation. The news that the Neoan Alliance was going to launch a second expedition against the Lava Kingdom was widely spread, and Yufei naturally learned about it through the 3 demon kings he controlled. However, without any special information channels, he didn't know what gave the Neoan Alliance the confidence to fight another battle. Could it be that the demons in other areas of the Wuhan land also felt the threat of the Flame Demon Emperor and joined the war together? Yufei speculated. However, if the demons in other areas of the Wuhan land joined the war, it must be a matter of public opinion, and it is impossible that the demon kings he controlled didn't know about it. Besides, as a newly promoted powerful demon king, the great demon king Murphy claimed to seize the title of the first demon king, and many demon kings couldn't stand it. In this case, everyone was eager to see the Neoan Alliance fall apart, so how could they help the Neoan Alliance in a second expedition? Or, Yufei quickly thought of the undead. Now the division of power in the demon world is still relatively clear. First of all, the Wuhan land is still the core part of the demon world. There is no problem, and the united force of the Lava Kingdom after the awakening of the Flame Demon Emperor should not be underestimated. The biggest changes were in the abandoned land and the ice purgatory. Needless to say, the abandoned land was now the domain of the Blood Elves, and because of the protection of the 3 nearby demon kings, it was not exposed to the eyes of the entire demon world for the time being. The ice purgatory was larger than the abandoned land, but it was only because of environmental factors that the demons rarely visited it. Now, it had been unified by the undead, and in a sense, it was already the same as the Lava Kingdom, or even a more centralized and united force. If there was any force in the demon world that could secretly stir up trouble without Yufei knowing about it in the first place, it would only be the undead. There were 3 demon kings in the Abyss land, and Illidan had become the second person in the Lava Kingdom. But if it was really the undead who were helping the South Abyss Alliance and wanted to start a second war with the Lava Kingdom, then what was the reason? You know, the Ice Purgatory and the Lava Kingdom were far apart, one in the north and the other in the south, and the undead couldn't have traveled hundreds of thousands of miles to help the South Abyss Alliance just because they were bored. Yufei had 2 guesses. Either the Great Demon Lord Murphy or the Neoan Alliance had already had some connection with the undead and paid some benefits to make the undead come forward to help it through the crisis, or the undead also regarded the Lava Kingdom as an enemy. The first possibility is really unlikely. The most likely possibility is that the undead regarded the Lava Kingdom as a target, so they joined the Neoan Alliance, which had suffered a great loss in the Lava Kingdom, to share the risk. But what still puzzled Yufei was how the undead and the Lava Kingdom became enemies when they were so far apart. Yufei could not figure this question out for the time being. He did not know how Zhao Kang controlled the undead and developed. As the supreme controller of the Night Elves and Blood Elves and even a god, he naturally would not have anything to issue tasks to him, and he could not understand this kind of forced war. On Zhao Kang's side, he was actually quite helpless. Although he did not know Yufei, Zhao Kang, who was also a time traveler, had always held the idea of building high walls, storing up food, and slowly claiming the throne. After all, this superb development strategy that has been proven many times in the history of China. Therefore, although the strength of the undead has been very strong, Zhao Kang still buried his head in the ice purgatory and at most developed some subordinates like Duke Dracula. This time, he had no choice but to expose the existence of the undead, which was not what he wanted to see. But Zhao Kang had to do it. The reason why he didn't want to expose the existence of the undead was that, although the undead had a large number of low-level combat power and were all highly disciplined troops, there were only 3 original heroes at the epic level in terms of high-end combat power. Oh, now there are 4. Those clone heroes could only be upgraded to level 6 before and barely had the ultimate skill, stuck at the legendary level. Now that they have taken on the task of killing the Flame Demon Emperor, these numerous clone heroes have the opportunity to be upgraded to level 7, and they can be regarded as the demon kings who dominate the entire demon world. And if the task is completed, the level cap of the clone heroes can be upgraded to level 8, which is the latent peak level of the epic level. Zhao Kang didn't want to refuse this temptation, and he couldn't refuse it. Therefore, after accepting the task, he began to look for a way to kill the mythical strongest, the Flame Demon Emperor. It happened that the Naniuan Alliance was established at that time, and it was the first to attack the Lava Kingdom. Zhao Kang also became a spectator and observed the specific strength of the Lava Kingdom. Zhao Kang was surprised by the failure of the Naniuan Alliance, but he was also a little calm. This is the difficulty of the SS level task. In terms of overall strength, the Undead tribe whose clone heroes all reached the epic level is almost the same level as the Naniuan Alliance. Since the Naniuan Alliance failed, it would be difficult for the Undead tribe to defeat the Lava Kingdom and kill the Flame Demon Emperor, even if they tried their best. In this way, Zhao Kang set his mind on the Naniuan Alliance, which was in a precarious situation. The battle process of the Naniuan Alliance in the Lava Kingdom was quickly spread after the war. After all, this was a major event in the demon world, and everyone had been paying attention. There were as many as 100,000 demon soldiers who escaped from the Lava Kingdom back to the Wuuan land. It was impossible for Mordor to leak the battle situation. Therefore, everyone knows that the overall strength of the Naniuan Alliance is not much worse than that of the Lava Kingdom. In terms of geographical area, the Naniuan Alliance, which is composed of the Demon City in the southern part of the Wuuan land, is actually about the same size as the Lava Kingdom. Indeed, in the battle between the troops, even with special creatures such as the Flame Mountain, the Lava Kingdom still cannot get any advantage from the demon troops of the Naniuan Alliance. This is the demon troops that suffered heavy losses from countless traps along the way. What ultimately determined the defeat of the Naniuan Alliance was actually the failure of the high-end strength duel. If it weren't for the Flame Demon Emperor who fought against 20 Demon Kings and won the battle, it would still be unknown who would win in the end. After all, if the 20 Demon Kings could defeat, even if they just suppressed and entangled the Flame Demon Emperor, the Naniuan Alliance would have the advantage in the end. If the 20 Demon Kings hadn't been defeated, the hundreds of little flame demons summoned by the Flame Demon Emperor would not have become the force that turned the situation around on the battlefield, allowing the Lava Kingdom to win. Therefore, the reason why the Naniuan Alliance failed in the last battle was obvious, that is, the lack of high-end strength. Chapter 499, Undead joins the war. In terms of high-end strength, the Naniuan Alliance really has no way to deal with it. For example, the Naniuan Alliance has as many low-level demon warriors as it wants in more than 30 demon cities. To put it bluntly, the 200,000 demon soldiers who died in the Lava Kingdom were not taken seriously by the Demon Kings at all, and were just a pile of cannon fodder. If there is really another war, the Naniuan Alliance can easily pull out 300,000 demon troops again. If the demon nobles are recruited, there will be more. It's a pity that no matter how many low-level demons there are, they can't fully exert their combat effectiveness in the harsh environment of the Lava Kingdom. In this case, it is difficult to use a human wave tactics to offset the lack of high-end strength. Zhao Kang chose to cooperate with the Naniuan Alliance because he saw this clearly. Although the Undead are also famous for their sea of corpses and can summon countless skeletons, the Ice Purgatory is too far away from the Lava Kingdom. It is obviously impossible to let the Undead army invade the Lava Kingdom. Apart from anything else, the demon lords of the Wuuan land are not so kind as to let the Undead pass through. But the high-end strength is different. It is very convenient to send a dozen or 20 heroes to the Naniuan Alliance to help. And this can just make up for the embarrassing situation of the Naniuan Alliance's current lack of high-end strength. 20 epic heroes will make the Naniuan Alliance stronger than before the defeat. Therefore, after learning the specific process of the Naniuan Alliance's failure, Zhao Kang thought for a while and sent 4 Death Knights, 8 Liches, 4 Dread Demons and 4 Crypt Lords to Murphy Magic City quietly. Among them, 1 Lich and a Crypt Lord are real heroes rather than clones. The reaction of the Naniuan Alliance is just as Zhao Kang thought. Although they doubted the origin of the Undead, they still accepted the hero team and agreed to Zhao Kang's request for an alliance. After all, compared with the Undead far away in the Ice Purgatory, the Naniuan Alliance in the south of the Wuuan land is more afraid of the Lava Kingdom. What's more, although the Naniuan Alliance failed in the battle last time, it also forged a deadly feud with the Lava Kingdom. If the Flame Demon Emperor really recovers, he will definitely be the first to attack the Naniuan Alliance. In this way, although the origin of the Undead is strange, the Naniuan Alliance finally chose to accept it. In order to gain the trust of the Naniuan alliance, Zhao Kang did not use the name of the undead when forming an alliance, but called his own power the Undead Demon Realm. This name was also known to most demons in the short period of time afterwards. Zhao Kang pretended to be the local demons of the Ice Purgatory who chose to unite together, and eventually the entire Ice Purgatory became a force, and was renamed the Undead Demon Realm. Although this statement has many loopholes, there are really no demons who care about the bitter cold land of the Ice Purgatory. It's nothing to unify it. At most, some demon kings in the north of the Wuhan land are a little worried about whether the so-called Undead Demon Realm will be as strong as the Lava Kingdom. Among the heroes of the undead, the Dread Demon King is very similar to the bat-winged demon native to the demon world, and the Crypt Lord is also a worm-like appearance, almost the same as the local Beetle Demon King. These two types of heroes will naturally make ordinary demons think that they are local demon kings. As for the Death Knight and the Lich, they are creatures that have never appeared in the demon world. However, the icy aura of the Lich can be explained as a kind of demon unique to the Ice Purgatory, and the Death Knight, under the cover of the first three heroes, no one would go into it. Therefore, with only a few heroes dispatched, the undead did not reveal their identity as outsiders, and successfully formed an alliance with the Naniuan alliance, preparing to jointly attack the Lava Kingdom. When this news was passed on, Yu Fei finally learned about it through the three demon kings he controlled. Of course, he knew that the so-called Undead Demon Realm was the undead, but he didn't expect that the undead would announce their existence in the demon world so openly. Yu Fei even wondered if the Blood Elves could also pretend to be a force to appear in front of the demons. However, thinking that the origin of the Blood Elves was the evolution of the elves that the demons originally plundered from slaves, the demons could not fail to recognize the origin of the Blood Elves, so he could only give up this idea. But on second thought, it is actually a good thing that the undead have emerged. Although he didn't know why the undead wanted to fight to the death with the Lava Kingdom, Yu Fei would always be happy to see things that could consume the overall strength of the demon world, because this would make it easier for him to achieve his goal of coming to the demon world. After Illidan transformed into the fire demon Gothmo and joined the Fire Emperor, Yu Fei also asked him to try in a roundabout way to see if he could get the news of the Heart of Darkness from this mythical powerful man, but he got nothing. However, looking at the Fire Emperor's appearance, Yu Fei suspected that it was not that he didn't know about the news of the Heart of Darkness, but just didn't want others to know. Anyway, Illidan has become the second person in the Lava Kingdom. If the Fire Emperor really knows about the news of the Heart of Darkness, then he will definitely be able to get it out of his mouth in the future, and Yu Fei is not in a hurry. Speaking of which, he is more concerned about the actions of the undead. Before, Illidan went to the Ice Purgatory to investigate the situation of the undead, but he only found a base of the undead and captured a weak lich. Afterwards, Yu Fei thought that the undead would retaliate against the Blood Elves, but he never waited. Now, with the identity that Illidan obtained in the Lava Kingdom, Yu Fei can get to know the undead well. Yu Fei didn't have to wait for long, or rather, the demons and the entire demon world who were paying attention to this matter didn't have to wait too long. Within 5 days, after announcing the second expedition to the Lava Kingdom, the Naniuan alliance once again assembled 500,000 demon troops and marched towards the Lava Kingdom. This time, the Naniuan alliance was really at a loss, and the troops dispatched were even more than the last time. Of course, after the damage suffered by the last battle, only 30 demon cities could not come up with 500,000 troops. There was a lot of water in these 500,000 demon troops, most of which were recruited demon nobles. Now the Naniuan alliance can be said to have come out in full force, and they really had the mentality of dying if they didn't succeed. However, from the perspective of the demon kings of the Naniuan alliance themselves, they really have great confidence in this expedition. After all, we have the experience from the last time. First of all, there will be no large-scale casualties on the road. With the almost certain advantage in the army and the support of the Undead Demon Realm in high-end combat power, the Demon Kings cannot find the possibility of failure. Thanks to the book Friends Wei Hei for 100 Nyangbi points and Kan Feng Wei for 100 Nyangbi points. Chapter 500, Illidan takes power. Compared to the last time the Naniuan alliance attacked the Lava Country, this time their actions attracted more attention from many demonic forces. not only because the number of troops dispatched by the Naniuan alliance was much larger than the first time, but more importantly, the so-called Undead Demon Realm, a new force that was reported from the Naniuan alliance, attracted the attention of almost all demonic forces. Although there have been various forces in the demon world, it has been roughly the same. Even if the new and old forces alternate, it will not cause any changes to the demon world as a whole. But the sudden appearance of the Undead Demon Realm is different. Almost no demons have heard of this seemingly powerful force before. Not all of the 30 demon cities in the Naniuan alliance are demons loyal to the demon kings of their respective demon cities. In other words, in almost every demon city, there are demons serving other demon kings. They can also be called spies. From these almost obvious spies, demonic forces everywhere have roughly learned that the Undead Demon Realm comes from the Ice Purgatory and has more than 20 demon kings. More, those demon spies who have not climbed to the top don't know. But even if only more than 20 demon kings were revealed, it was enough to alert all the demon forces in Wuuan land, including the great demon king Dire, who was known as the first demon king. The great demon king Dire was powerful, but after all, he was not a mythical strongman, and he only had 7 demon kings under his command. The strength revealed by the Undead Demon Realm was not something that any demon city could resist. Even the Naniuan alliance had 30 demon cities united together to have more demon kings than the Undead Demon Realm. The demon forces that knew more or less about the strength revealed by the Undead Demon Realm had a vague worry in their hearts. Would this mysterious force occupying the northern ice field become the next lava kingdom? In fact, even the Naniuan alliance, which had reached a cooperation with the Undead Demon Realm, was not without such worries, but now their main enemy was the Lava Kingdom. If the Lava Kingdom could not be resolved, not to mention the covetousness and ridicule of other demon forces, the revenge of the Flame Demon Emperor after his recovery would be a big problem. Besides, the Undead Demon Realm's sphere of influence is the northernmost of the Ice Purgatory in the Demon Realm, and there is no possibility of conflict with the Naniuan Alliance, located in the south of the Wuuan land. Now the Naniuan Alliance can launch a second war against the Lava Kingdom with the help of the Undead Demon Realm, so it will naturally not care about more things. However, the Naniuan Alliance does not care about the strength and potential threats shown by the Undead Demon Realm, but it does not mean that other demon forces do not care. In particular, some demon cities in the north of the Wuuan land, after roughly understanding the strength shown by the Undead Demon Realm, even have the idea of forming a force like the Naniuan Alliance. If they really succeed, then the task of the undead to occupy half of the territory of the demon realm will be much more difficult. The northern part of the Wuuan land is the first place that the undead must conquer when they step out of the ice purgatory. If the first step is extremely difficult, then it is unrealistic to achieve this goal quickly. If possible, Zhao Kang does not want the undead to be exposed to the demon realm now. What he is most worried about is gradually evolving in the direction he does not want to see. If it weren't for the painstaking effort to change the name of the undead to the Undead Demon Realm, and only sending out some heroes who looked like demons, Zhao Kang felt that the undead, as a foreign race, might have begun to be jointly suppressed by various demon forces. Even now, Zhao Kang found that after the name of the Undead Demon Realm was spread, there were suddenly many more demons coming to the Ice Purgatory for a tour. For these guys who were obviously here to inquire about the situation, Zhao Kang chose to kill them without mercy. The true situation of the undead must not be exposed. Relying on the various undead sub-bases scattered outside, and the cloned heroes who have reached level 7 stationed in the outer sub-bases, Zhao Kang is working hard to complete the task of clearing spies. Unlike Yufei, Zhao Kang, who controls the undead, relies on the system, and cannot check the situation of his men anytime and anywhere. For the troops, heroes and even bases outside, the only thing Zhao Kang can do is to check their status through the system and issue some orders with limited transmission, but this is only one way, and cannot achieve two-way communication. Of course, this is not absolute. Within the scope of the Frozen Throne, Zhao Kang was able to achieve the same state of controlling the overall situation as Yufei. Because of the above reasons, although he sent 20 heroes to cooperate with the Naniuan Alliance to kill the Flame Demon Emperor, Zhao Kang had no way to know in time what step his men had taken. He could only check the increase and decrease of the attributes of the heroes sent out on the hero panel to determine whether a battle had occurred and the intensity of the battle. At the beginning, the advancement of the joint forces of the Naniuan Alliance and the Undead Demon Realm was still very smooth. Before, the 300,000 demon troops could pass through the lava areas relatively easily, although the number of demon soldiers was larger, which caused a little chaos in the march. There were few flame creatures to harass the army with such a large number. The increase and decrease reduced the losses of the demon troops before entering the volcanic area. On Illidan's side, he was a little worried. The Flame Demon Emperor ran back to the volcano to rest and recover, and handed the Lava Kingdom to him. Illidan was excited that he, an undercover, actually took the second position, but he became extremely depressed soon after becoming the second person. Although they are both fire demons, Illidan, the fire demon Gothmo who suddenly appeared, did not have the super strength of the mythical level. Secondly, he did not have the reputation to command the residents of the Lava Kingdom, and there were few fire creatures that obeyed his orders completely. In this way, Illidan suddenly realized that his so-called second-in-command was actually just the Fire Demon Emperor who pushed out the jar and temporarily served as a mascot. However, mascots also have the functions and ideas of mascots. For example, when the South Abyss Alliance attacked again, Illidan, the mascot, was no longer a mascot. He learned from Yuffie that the South Abyss Alliance had joined forces with the Undead to invade the Lava Kingdom, and soon after that, he roared loudly outside the volcano, wanting to tell the Fire Demon Emperor the news. However, the Fire Demon Emperor did not know whether he was really in the recovery period and did not hear it, or simply did not want to move and did not respond to him. In this situation, Illidan could only show the majesty and domineering of the second-in-command as the temporary supreme commander of the Lava Kingdom to lead everyone to resist the attack of the South Abyss Alliance. To put it another way, Illidan now holds the real power in the Lava Kingdom. Thanks to the book friend Yangyu and Dadu for his valuable monthly ticket. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.